Chapter 1041. As expected, Charlotte and Akiko, Tsukino, took about half an hour to get from the beach to the other side of the island. The other side of the island was also in the shape of a gourd, with two large ends and a small middle. The two bun-shaped mountains were also covered in dense forest. In fact, this island was more like a milk dome than a gourd, especially the highest point of the two hills, which looked like a place for women to raise their children. There were no buildings or lights on the other side of the island, and Charlotte's last glimmer of hope was shattered. He moved his gaze to the other side of the island in the distance. His field of vision was a vast sea, and under the dark sky, the waves were tumbling, as if there was no end to it. "Boss!" Akiko Tsukino suddenly pointed forward. "Is that a ship?" Charlotte's heart was filled with excitement, and he looked in the direction she was pointing. His field of vision was still only the tumbling waves of the sea. Forget about a ship. Not even a seabird could be seen. "Is that a Turkish ship or an Iranian ship?" Akiko Tsukino said, looking very excited. Charlotte frowned and asked worriedly, "Did you really see a ship?" "Yeah, didn't you see it?" Akiko Tsukino looked at Charlotte with a curious gaze. "Then tell me, what kind of ship is it?" Charlotte said, looking at the empty sea. "It's a bit blurry, but I'm guessing it's a cruise ship," Akiko Tsukino said. "You still don't see it?" Charlotte suddenly understood. This was definitely not an illusion, but a hallucination caused by Akiko Tsukino. The culprit of this situation was none other than the crystal skull in his backpack. "I have to let them know that there are people on the island." Akiko Tsukino rushed to the beach. She waved her arms and shouted. Charlotte, however, was thinking about something else. Able to interfere with modern equipment, able to make the strong-willed Qianjun lose his memory, and able to make people hallucinate. Aren't these abilities all Zhu Xuanyue's? Other than modern equipment, Zhu Xianyue could also make people lose their memories, hallucinate, and even make them obey her orders. Could it be that the owner of this crystal skull was Zhu Xuanyue's race? I wonder how powerful he was when he was alive. The reason why it was he and not she was because this crystal skull was a man's skull. The Mayans' imitation of the crystal skull was a woman's skull. Professor Mark said that the Mayans' crystal skull was an imitation of this crystal skull, which was obviously incorrect. Perhaps there was a woman's crystal skull, which the Mayans imitated. But where it was, this was something that could not be researched. If the crystal skull is the ultimate form of the brain of Zhu Xianyue and her race, then Charlotte suddenly thought of himself. He was now in the stage of evolution, and the proportion of his body's evolution had probably reached 30%. If he continued to evolve, then the proportion of his evolution would gradually increase 50%, 60%, until it reached 100%. Then, when the evolution reached 100%, what would his brain look like? Would he also have a crystal skull? Thinking of this, Charlotte did not dare to think any further. "Hey, bastard!" Akiko Tsukino roared in the direction of the sea. "We are here. Bastard! Bring the boat here. I'm going to kill you." She really pulled out her gun. Charlotte suddenly realized something. He pounced over, grabbed Akiko Tsukino's waist, and threw her onto the beach. Akiko Tsukino struggled hard, but she could not get rid of Charlotte's oppression. She and Charlotte were entangled together, and her mouth made a hum-hum sound like an imprisoned beast. Charlotte used his body to press her down and then reached out to grab the Viper pistol in her hand. Akiko Tsukino took advantage of the moment when he loosened his grip and suddenly reached out to hug his neck. Her legs were also locked around his waist like an iron lock. There was not a gap between her and his body. There was originally a gap, but if it was not for the cloth blocking it, it would have been filled up. The sudden change in position caught Charlotte off guard. He felt that it was very sudden. He looked at Akiko Tsukino and said, "Akiko, wake up. That was just an illusion. It was because of the crystal skull. It made you hallucinate. There was no boat there at all." He wanted to convince Akiko Tsukino, but Akiko Tsukino's reaction was to kiss his lips. She was so impatient, so dry and raging. "Akiko, don't do this. We can't." Charlotte avoided her lips. Akiko Tsukino suddenly pulled his head down and kissed his lips again. This time, She was even more domineering. She used her tongue to pry open his teeth, and their tongues intertwined. If I entangle my tongue with yours, you won't be able to speak, right? Akiko would, don't do this. Charlotte was already unable to speak clearly. Akiko Tsukino did not care so much. She greedily begged. She took all the initiative. Under her attack, Charlotte was like a boy in the 3rd year of middle school. Xiaolei's line of defense began to crack. There was a mountain torrent surging through his body, constantly battering at his psychological line of defense and his rationality. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before the mountain torrent broke through the dam. Akiko Tsukino finally let go of Charlotte's lips. She panted and said, "The sky is going to collapse. The earth is burning. Lava is flowing." Charlotte was stunned. "What are you talking about?" Akiko Tsukino continued, "The end of the world is coming. The end of the world is coming. We're all going to die. No one can survive. What are you thinking about in your head? Or did you hear something?" Charlotte was very anxious. He thought of tranquility. Akiko Tsukino's current situation was somewhat similar to tranquility's. She saw illusions, heard voices, and even drew things that she had never seen before. Akiko Tsukino mumbled to herself, "The end of the world, destruction. There are corpses all over the ground. The demon that eats human brains." Charlotte could no longer remain calm. He grabbed Akiko Tsukino's shoulder and said anxiously, "Akiko, how do you know about the demon that eats human brains? Who told you that?" The demon that ate human brains was Zhu Xianwei. However, only one person knew about the secret of Zhu Xianwei eating human brains. Even his father did not know about it. How could Akiko Tsukino know about it? It was too strange. I want you. I'm in so much pain. I'm going to die. Hurry up." Akiko Tsukino suddenly reached out and hugged Charlotte's waist. She flipped Charlotte, who was waiting for her to answer, off her body. Without waiting for Charlotte to dodge, she took advantage of the situation and pressed on Charlotte's body. Charlotte wanted to push her down, press her down again, and subdue her. But when he reached out, his hands went soft. It wasn't because his hands were pressed against her soft parts, but because he discovered that her eyes were burning with an incomparably hot desire. It was as if she had taken a lot of that drug, and the drug's effect had reached its peak at this moment. The feeling she gave people now was that if her problem was not solved, she might really go crazy or even die. It was because of this worry that his heart went soft. After a moment of hesitation, his belt was loosened. A dark cloud covered the moon, and the pearl-like stars in the night sky were entangled. It was as if they did not want to see anything that would make them shy. However, a white full moon quietly appeared in the night. It danced in the darkness, full of rhythm. The night wind blew, whooshing, but there were other sounds mixed in with it. It was a very strange sound, as if a mute person was singing. Xiaolei's heart rose and fell amidst the turbulence. The waves of joy had already drowned him, but he blamed himself in the waves of joy. How could I be so soft-hearted? I could have rejected her. I just had to be cruel. If I act like this, how can I face the 4 pregnant women at home? If they knew, they would definitely be jealous and sad. But if I don't help mine solve the problem, what if she ends up like Peaceful? How can I face her? Do it. It was difficult. Not doing it. It was also difficult. This was really a dilemma. Charlotte's gaze landed on the equipment bag beside him. The equipment bag was zipped, so he could not see the crystal skull inside. However, in Charlotte's field of vision, it was clearly visible. He thought to himself, Akiko's situation clearly has something to do with it. It interfered with and even controlled Akiko's brain. This is the same as Zhu Xuanyue's interference and control of Peaceful's brain. It seems that my previous guess is correct. It has a similar ability to Zhu Xianwei. It is the skull of Zhu Xuanyue's race. Just as Charlotte was thinking about this, Akiko Tsukino made a sound as if she was about to die. Then, she lay on his body softly. Her body was as soft as jelly, and all the bones in her body seemed to have softened for some reason. Charlotte tried to push her up, but just as he pushed her up a little, she suddenly hugged him tightly again and said in his ear, "Don't move. I want to remember this moment." I want to remember it forever. Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. Are you okay? What's wrong with me? Akiko Tsukino murmured. Charlotte was confused. No, the illusion you saw just now, the apocalypse, demons, magma, and so on. Have you forgotten? What are you talking about? Akiko Tsukino said in a very gentle voice. Today is the day I become a woman. Why would I think of those strange things? Charlotte was confused. Are you trying to divert my attention? Don't do that. Tonight is the most important day of my life. Can you love me for once? Even if it's fake. Akiko Tsukino's eyes were full of longing and gentleness. Xiaolei's heart was finally melted by her. He pinned her under his body. Apocalypse, demons, magma, and so on can all go to hell. Life is short. Be happy when you can. Whoosh, bean-sized raindrops fell from the sky, and countless splashes appeared on the sea. The raindrops hit the beach, and thousands of small holes appeared on the beach. The happy raindrops were busy smashing the holes, but Charlotte was busy filling the holes. No one noticed that the cloth of the equipment bag was emitting a faint fluorescent light. It was very hidden, and even Charlotte would have a hard time discovering it. Chapter 1042. The rain came and went quickly. When the rain stopped, the dark clouds in the sky also dispersed. The bright moon reappeared in the blue sky, and the stars twinkled. On this uninhabited island, there was also a bright fat moon. It was round and smooth, as if it was carved out of white jade. This was because it did not hang in the sky, but fell into the sand. The sand was also covered with the traces of it being crushed. It was naughty. I really didn't expect it to be. Akiko Tsukino looked like she was recalling something. Her mouth held a satisfied smile, and her eyes were full of happiness and joy. What was it? Charlotte asked casually. He was a little tired, but his heart was also filled with joy. At this time, he did not think about any annoying problems. He just wanted to lie like this, look at the stars, the moon, and the woman beside him. All these were beautiful things. Well, I didn't expect it to be so interesting, so Akiko Tsukino hesitated for a moment. Although she was very embarrassed, she still said it. Happy, comfortable. Charlotte just smiled and was too lazy to say anything. Boss, don't worry. I won't tell my sisters-in-law what happened tonight. They won't know. Akiko Tsukino said. Charlotte sighed softly. Even if you don't say it, we still did that kind of thing. I feel sorry for them. No, you didn't do anything wrong. It was all my fault. I couldn't help it. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Charlotte changed the topic. Akiko, think about it carefully. What kind of illusion did you have just now? What did you hear? Tell me everything you can remember. The more detailed, the better. Akiko Tsukino tried hard to recall, and then shook her head. Boss, I really can't remember. Did I really have an illusion? Charlotte said, yes, you told me that the end of the world was coming. You seem to have seen brain-eating demons and lava flowing on the ground. You told me all this yourself. Think carefully and see if you can remember anything. Akiko Tsukino closed his eyes and seemed to be thinking about something. But for some reason, one of his hands fell where it shouldn't be. Charlotte's nerves were immediately injected with active elements, and his body immediately tensed up. He then said, Akiko, I might have affected you. I'm going to soak in the sea for a while. You can think about it by yourself. When I'm done, you can tell me what you think. Akiko Tsukino nodded meekly. Then say, wait a minute, I'll give you a back rub. Okay? Charlotte, the woman in Snow White, sat on the beach and thought about the problem. Sometimes, the man who had finished the mermaid line plunged into the sea. He needed to cool his burning nerves and restless desire, which was colder than a man's. Charlotte dived in the sea, and the cold seawater played a role. They made him more clear-headed, and the heat flowing in his blood vessels slowly subsided. Once his brain was clear, his thoughts became active, and a question that he was unwilling to think about was picked up again. Akiko is clearly having an illusion, and her need for that kind of thing has reached the extreme of a woman. If I don't solve her problem, she might even go crazy. Her brain is obviously being disrupted and controlled, but how long has it been? She actually has no memory of it at all. Then, What is the crystal skull's purpose of disturbing and controlling her brain? Zhu Xianyue controlled Jing Jing's brain. His purpose was to make Jing Jing send information. Last time, there was also Jing Jing's body. The crystal skull's interference and control of Akiko Tsukino's brain were more like a joke. There was no clear purpose. But the problem was, would the crystal skull play such a joke on him? Wait, Charlotte suddenly thought of something. Zhu Xianyue can't interfere with my brain, and he can't control my brain. The owner of the crystal skull is the same as Zhu Xianyue. He, who only has a skull left, can't interfere with and control my brain. However, he can interfere with and control other people's brains. Through this method, he can send information to me. Zhu Xianyue had actually done something like this before, which was to control Jing Jing to send information to him. Now, the crystal head was doing the same thing, but the crystal skull was sending him a message, the end of the world. Splash! Charlotte emerged from the cold seawater. He needed fresh air to keep his brain calm. In his vision, Akiko Tsukino was hugging the crystal skull and studying it. Charlotte was shocked by her. He shouted, "Don't touch it." Akiko Tsukino didn't seem to hear him. She looked at the crystal skull in her hand. A second later, she suddenly hit the beach. Charlotte desperately swam to the shore. He ran to the beach and picked up Akiko Tsukino. "Akiko, wake up! Wake up!" Akiko Tsukino closed her eyes and didn't respond. Her current situation was the same as Qianjun's. She touched the crystal skull with her hand and then fainted. After Qianjun woke up, he lost an hour of memory. He didn't know if Akiko Tsukino was the same as him. Charlotte tried 2 more times, but he still couldn't wake up Akiko Tsukino. He checked her body condition. He found that everything was normal. There was no sign of illness. He put her on the beach and picked up the crystal skull that had fallen on the beach. "I don't care what you were when you were alive. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what your purpose is. I want to warn you. Don't hurt my people. Otherwise, I'll use a stamper to crush you in a powder. Do you hear me?" Charlotte looked very fierce. The crystal skull didn't respond at all. It just quietly glowed. Charlotte put the crystal skull into the equipment department. Then he carried Akiko Tsukino into the sea. He washed the sand and other dirty things off her body with the seawater. Then he carried her back to the beach and helped her put on her clothes. But before he could put on his clothes, Tsukino Anko suddenly woke up with a moan. "Boss, you!" Akiko Tsukino stared at Charlotte in shock. Charlotte was stunned on the spot. He looked down at his bare lower body. Then he looked at the shirt on his upper body. Finally, he looked at the triangular piece of cloth in his hand. He suddenly understood. He didn't look like a man who was wearing clothes. He looked like a man who was taking off his clothes and preparing to do something bad. After all, Akiko was lying on the beach. 3 seconds later, Charlotte suddenly covered his important parts with a triangular piece of cloth and said tentatively, "Akiko, have you forgotten?" "What did I forget?" Akiko Tsukino suddenly smiled sweetly. "I remember very clearly. You deliberately brought me here to fulfill my wish, right?" Xiaolei's head was about to explode. Akiko Tsukino got up from the beach and turned around shyly. Then she began to take off her clothes. Her respected boss had been stripped like that. How could she still have the nerve to wear clothes? Don't we actually... Charlotte hurriedly grabbed Akiko Tsukino's hand. "We actually did that, and your wish was fulfilled." Akiko Tsukino's body suddenly froze. She bit her cherry lips and looked very disappointed and sad. "It's true. I swear it's true. It's because of the crystal skull. You lost an hour of memory, and we had exactly 1 hour. Do you understand what I mean?" Xiaolei tried his best to explain. "I know you don't love me, but you don't love those 2 German women either, do you? Why can't you fulfill your promise to me? I'm very sad. You knocked me out just to say this to me?" Akiko Tsukino turned around and left. "Hey, let me explain." Charlotte wanted to continue explaining, but he felt that even if he was drunk, it would be difficult for him to explain what had already happened. Akiko Tsukino turned back to look at Charlotte. Her dark eyes were full of sadness and a faint layer of mist. A woman racked her brains to serve a man. She even took the initiative to take off her clothes, but the man lied to her and said that he had already done that. Was there such a low-level lie? Charlotte shrugged and smiled bitterly. Next time? How about next time? I'll owe you. Akiko Tsukino heard Charlotte's words clearly, and she burst out laughing. That's what you said. You owe me. Charlotte braced himself and nodded. Damn it. What a mess. It was all the Crystal Skull's fault. Akiko Tsukino turned around and walked toward Charlotte. Her eyes were full of hope and desire. Why not now? There's no one here to disturb us. Charlotte hesitated for a moment and suddenly threw the triangular piece of cloth away. Akiko, Tsukino, and Charlotte were entangled together. Boss! Sayamu's voice came from the direction from which they came. Where are you? Come out. We found a ship. Below Charlotte, the Japanese ninja gritted her teeth and said hatefully, I want to beat him to death. Charlotte did not say anything. He quietly climbed down from the female ninja's body. He silently picked up the piece of cloth that he had thrown away and silently put it back on. He was not feeling good. He was not feeling good at all. Sayamu did not come alone. There are thousands of soldiers with him. When the two of them found the beach, Charlotte and Akiko Tsukino were standing on the beach. What ship? Charlotte was now very sensitive to the word ship. He tentatively said, Tell me, did you see a cruise ship? What cruise ship? Sayamu said, It's a Russian warship. It seems to be going from Istanbul to the Black Sea. Well, it's a destroyer of the Black Sea Fleet. Qianjun said, This is our chance. Whether it's the United States or the European Union, no one dares to touch a Russian warship. As long as we can board that warship, we can return to China safely. Charlotte looked at Sayamu and then at Qianjun. Are you sure it's not a cruise ship? Sayamu said in surprise, Boss, were you drenched by the rain just now? It's really a Russian warship. I asked Angumi Khan and Yelena to light the SOS signal on the beach. Maybe when we get there, the warship will have already sent people over. Qianjun said, Yelena is Russian, and she has a certain relationship in Russia. I think this matter can be settled with some money. Well, I'll ask you one last time. Did you see Doomsday and Magma? Charlotte said. Sayamu, Qianjun. In fact, not only Sayamu and Qianjun felt that Charlotte was very strange, but even Akiko Tsukino felt that Charlotte was not normal tonight. Well, let's go back now. Charlotte gave up trying to probe. If he continued to probe, his people would probably think that he was crazy. It took them half an hour to come back on foot. It took Charlotte, Sayamu, Qianjun, and Akiko Tsukino less than 10 minutes to go back. Bypassing the reef area that blocked their view, they saw a burning SOS signal at a glance. Xiaolei shifted his gaze to the sea and immediately saw a destroyer flying the Russian flag. Several military speedboats were heading toward the island at a fast speed. It was not an illusion. Charlotte breathed a long sigh of relief. He could finally go home. Chapter 1043. Yelena quickly completed the negotiation. Of course, her relationship in Russia was negligible. The reason why she could get protection from this Russian warship was money. Charlotte was willing to pay $6 million, which was equivalent to $1 million per person for protection. After receiving the $1 million deposit, the captain of this Russian destroyer even threatened to immediately open fire if anyone dared to invade this warship. The officers of the fighting nation were so simple and cute. On the warship, Charlotte asked the officer named Ivanovich for a laptop and some lead materials. When Charlotte made this request, Ivanovich suddenly looked at Charlotte with vigilance. I can give you the laptop, a military-grade hacking computer, but what do you want lead materials for? What do you have on you? Charlotte said, Captain, please rest assured. I don't have any nuclear materials on me, nor do I have any radioactive things on me. If you don't believe me, you can use the equipment to test the radiation on our bodies. For safety's sake, I really have to check what you have on you. Ivanovich then asked a Russian soldier to bring a radiation detector. The Russian soldier used the radiation detector to check Charlotte's body and equipment bag, and then check the bodies and equipment bags of the other members of the Zodiac squad. There was no problem with the test results. In fact, with the characteristics of the Crystal Skull, even if Charlotte was carrying a nuclear warhead on his body, the detection equipment on the warship wouldn't be able to detect it. The test results made Ivanovich relax. He said, "Friend, can you let me see what's in your backpack?" Charlotte shook his head. "No." Ivanovich suddenly frowned. He was very curious as to why Charlotte needed lead materials. Lead was the main material for radiation protection, but Charlotte obviously didn't want him to know. Charlotte said, "Captain, I know you are very curious, but I promise you that there is nothing on me that will threaten this warship and the interests of Russia. For the sake of the $50 million US, please restrain your curiosity a little." "Ha ha ha!" Ivanovich laughed. "You're right. I'm really curious, but for the sake of money, I should restrain my curiosity. All right, you guys can stay on my ship. No one can touch you, including the Americans." 5 million USD was definitely a huge amount of wealth for a Russian military officer. Compared to wealth that could change one's life, what was a little curiosity? Not long after Ivanovich left, a Marine came back with what Charlotte needed: a hacking computer and a cylindrical suitcase containing radiation materials. "Sir, I couldn't find the lead material you wanted. I only found this box. Its main component is lead. I think you might be able to use it. If you can't, I'll think of another way." The Russian sailor appeared to be very polite. How could it not be used? With such a box, Charlotte didn't even have to do it himself. He said, "I can use it, thank you. I hope you can keep this a secret. This is a small token of my appreciation. Please accept it." He casually gave the Russian sailors a few 500 € notes. "Thank you, sir. Call me if you need anything." The sailor left happily. Money wasn't everything, but it was impossible to live without money. If Charlotte didn't have so much money, he would probably still be catching crabs on that uninhabited island. After the sailor left, Charlotte put the Jiang crystal skull into the cylindrical anti-radiation suitcase. Then he called Long Bing's number with the satellite phone. Do-do-do, do-do-do. The sound was normal, without the strange breathing sound. A few seconds later, a familiar voice came from the satellite phone. "Where are you?" This was Long Bing's voice, and this was also Long Bing's first sentence. In her mind, the most important thing was where Charlotte was and whether he was safe. Charlotte said, "I'm on a Russian destroyer. I'll be home soon." Long Bing let out a long sigh of relief. That's good, that's good. I was so worried. I can't even eat well these days, and I can't sleep at night." Charlotte said, "How can you do that? You're pregnant. You must pay attention to rest and nutrition." "I know you're fine now, so I'll definitely have an appetite." Long Bing lowered her voice. "Without you, I can't sleep. For the sake of your son, hurry home." Charlotte smiled. "I miss you too." "Well, honey, do you want me to give the phone to Si Yao and the others? They're also very worried about you." Long Bing said. Charlotte said, "You don't need to tell them. I still have something to deal with. I called you because I want you to pass a message to Tang Yuyan." "What do you want me to tell her?" Charlotte said, "Tell her that the CIA has an intelligence station in Chengdu, China. It's a coffee house called Lee's Coffee House. The station manager is a Chinese man named Yang Shan, and he's very cunning. You want me to tell Tang Yuyan that after she gets this information, she'll take people to destroy the intelligence station. Are you sure you want to do that?" Long Bing's voice was heard. Charlotte said, "My fake death has been seen through. She can do whatever she wants. I should have told her this information earlier, but I didn't expect such a change. If she knows you're not dead." Long Bing didn't speak happily for the first time. Charlotte smiled bitterly. "Let her do what she wants." "Well, I'll go now." After a pause, Long Bing added, "Honey, be careful. Think about us and the children before you do anything. We'll wait for you to come home." Charlotte's heart was touched, and there was a hint of guilt. He and Akiko Tsukino had that kind of relationship, which was actually a betrayal for them. "Okay, I'm hanging up." Long Bing was about to hang up the phone. Charlotte kissed the satellite phone. Long Bing's laughter came from the satellite phone. "If you want to kiss me back. I can't feel a kiss on the phone." Charlotte also couldn't help but laugh. It felt good to have a woman at home. After ending the call, Charlotte looked at the cylindrical anti-radiation box. He thought to himself, it really does interfere and control by releasing energy. The anti-radiation box is useful against it. If it was useless, then he wouldn't have been able to call Long Bing just now. Even the Russian destroyer would be heading in the wrong direction. This was also the reason why he asked for lead materials as soon as he got on the ship. He didn't want the crystal skull to affect the equipment of the destroyer and then head in the wrong direction. Charlotte turned on the hacker's computer provided by Ivanovic. He first checked the computer's hardware, then woke up the computer to check the system and software. He quickly found a Trojan horse program in the system. A cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Ivanovic wanted to use this method to steal his secrets, but he was really targeting the wrong person. Charlotte cleaned up the Trojan horse and began to operate. Now, it was time to wake up Xiaoqian, who was implanted in the CIB headquarters. His operation was smooth, and after 20 minutes, he entered the internal network of the CIB headquarters. He woke up Xiaoqian. He didn't need to do anything else. Xiaoqian would take care of everything for him. Xiaoqian was like a ghost. Unless he showed himself, no one would be able to find him. That was the truth. If the CIB had discovered Xiaoqian earlier, he wouldn't have had the chance to wake him up today. Everything went smoothly. Xiaoqian woke up in the internal network of the CIB headquarters and spread like a cancer cell in the CIB headquarters internal network system. By the time the CIB found out, they were already in the late stage of cancer. It's done. Xiao Lei relaxed. Beep, 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 beep. A red warning box suddenly appeared on the screen of the hacker's computer with a message. You've been discovered. How is this possible? Charlotte was shocked. There was a hacker more powerful than him in this world. He couldn't believe it. The other party was collecting his information and trying to track him. Charlotte's first thought was to exit the CIB's internal network. But after that thought, he suddenly thought of something. I have to buy more time and opportunities for Xiaoqian, or else that guy will find it. After making up his mind, Charlotte began to fight with the other party. This was a battlefield without any smoke. The weapons and ammunition of both sides were all made up of 0 and 1 commands. One by one, they formed an army and charged at each other. A minute later, Charlotte exclaimed again, "The other party isn't a person, but a program. The CIB's celestial system? The Americans have developed such advanced artificial intelligence." 2 minutes later, Charlotte was kicked out of the CIB's internal network. But before he was locked down, he also got rid of the other party's tracking. After getting rid of the tracking, he shut down the hacker's computer and removed the battery. He sat quietly in front of the hacker's computer that had turned into a pile of hardware, and he thought to himself, the celestial system is very powerful and very smart. It won't take long for it to discover Xiaoqian, and I don't know what Xiaoqian will bring back to me in this limited time. During the video call with Williams, Charlotte used the CIB's Kyoto Intelligence Station's network to implant Xiaoqian into the CIB. At that time, he guessed that Xiaoqian could only be used once, but he imagined that it would be a few days or even longer. He didn't expect that he would be discovered in just a few minutes, and the next one to be discovered would definitely be Xiaoqian. What could Xiaoqian bring back to him in such a short period of time? This was something that could only be left to fate. "Boss." Akiko Tsukino's voice came from outside the cabin. "Something happened. Come out and take a look." Charlotte carried the anti-radiation box and walked out, then followed Akiko Tsukino into the bridge. Through the window of the bridge, Charlotte saw 3 F-35s whizzing past at a low altitude, but they didn't fly far. They quickly circled back as if they were scouting something. Ivanovic held the radio and said, "Damn. Don't they need money to buy fuel? Turn on the radar and shine it on them." The Russian warship quickly sounded the alarm. The destroyer's radar was fully activated and locked onto the 3 F-35s. Then, the silo's cover was opened. 3 seconds later, the 3 F-35s entered Turkey's airspace and disappeared. Ivanovic smiled and said, "Friend, did you see that? They're just a bunch of cowards." Charlotte just smiled and gave Ivanovic a thumbs up. The way home was absolutely safe. Chapter 1044. 2 days later, in the capital of China, a group of reporters surrounded the Rema Group's headquarters in the capital, pointing their cameras at Liang Xiao. "Ms. Liang, what's the next step of Rema Group?" a reporter asked. "Ms. Liang, Mr. Charlotte is dead. Who will inherit Rema Group? Is it his sister or his silent child?" A reporter asked. His colleague took the camera to shoot Liang Xiao's big belly that could not be covered. Ms. Liang, is the child in your belly Mr. Charlotte's? A reporter suddenly asked such a question. A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. Ms. Liang, I'm sorry to ask you such a question. We have our sources. We heard that the child in your belly is Mr. Charlotte's. Rema Group is related to the national defense construction of our country. We really want to know who will inherit Rema Group. Can you answer my question directly? The reporter who asked the excessive question continued to ask. Liang Xiao just smiled. She faced such a question calmly, but she just listened without any answer. If this reporter asked her such a question 2 days ago, she would be angry and anxious. But after knowing the news that Charlotte was about to return to China, she didn't have any burden in her heart. Who would inherit Rema Group? She had never thought about this question because her child was already a major shareholder of Rema Group before he was born. No matter which child inherited Rema Group in the future, her child would not be poor. Ms. Liang, please answer my question. All right, can I ask about your source of information? The reporter who asked the question was suddenly speechless. Liang Xiao said lightly, You don't want to answer my question, so I don't want to answer yours. Ms. Liang, when will Mr. Charlotte's body be cremated and buried? A reporter changed the question. Liang Xiao said, You have to ask his wife, Ms. Fan Fan. However, what I want to tell you is that our chairman Xia is not dead at all. Mr. Xia didn't die at all? The reporter looked at Liang Xiao with a strange expression. How is that possible? A large group of reporters began to discuss among themselves. Could this director Liang have suffered some kind of shock? How could she say such a thing? Yes, Charlotte's death was announced to the entire country. The flags were also half lowered, and all over the country held a grand memorial service. Schools all over the country are also carrying out activities to learn from Comrade Charlotte. How could he not be dead? This director Liang must have been provoked. I'm sure that the child in her stomach is Charlotte's. Most likely, she has no hope of inheriting the inheritance. Her mind is no longer normal. This is going to be interesting. Charlotte is dead, and his sister has the right to inherit. He also has a father whose whereabouts are unknown, and his wife is pregnant. If Charlotte's child is also in Chief Liang's stomach, then there are 4 people who have the right to inherit. Once there's a lawsuit, things will get lively. How can not be lively? That's hundreds of billions of assets. Rich families have many disputes. It's better for ordinary people like you and me to live a simple life. In the face of such discussions, Liang Xiao was unmoved. She waited for the reporters to finish talking, and then she said, I repeat, Chairman Xia is not dead. So my friends, if you see our Chairman Xia come back, please don't be surprised and don't be nervous. This time, no one talked about it, and the reporters all looked at Liang Xiao with wide eyes. Although they didn't say anything, they were all wondering if this woman had really gone crazy. Xiao, it's time to eat. Another woman with a big belly came over. She had a full figure, and the beauty of her buttocks made people's imagination run wild. Charlotte used to peep at her buttocks the most, because that was the sexiest part of her body. Rui, I'll be right there. Liang Xiao said, My friends, you can go now. If there's any news, I'll hold a press conference, but I really don't have any news for you today. I'm sorry. After that, Liang Xiao pushed through the crowd of reporters, looked at Jiang Rui's shoulder, and walked to the door. The 2 women with big belly seemed very intimate, as if they were real sisters. Why is there another woman with a big belly? And she's so intimate with President Liang, someone said. More than that, I saw another one last time, someone said. He was obviously talking about Long Bing. Plus Charlotte's wife, Fan Fan. Doesn't that mean there are 4 women with big belly in Pinganju? Someone said. Of course, I saw 4 women go to the supermarket to buy necessities last time, surrounded by bodyguards. Oh, I remember. That happened 3 days ago, someone said. Let's go and have a look. Maybe we can get some valuable news photos. Someone smelled the scent of hot news. A large group of reporters followed. A military off-road vehicle drove from the direction of the capital. When Liang Xiao and Jiang Rui just walked out of the door, the military off-road vehicle stopped at the entrance of Pinganju. The door of the Junjun off-road vehicle opened, and the tall and long-legged Tang Yuyan walked out of the driver's seat. She originally planned to enter Ping and Zhu, but when she saw Liang Xiao and Jiang Rui, she stopped and waited for Liang Xiao and Jiang Rui to go over. Liang Xiao deliberately slowed down and whispered to Jiang Rui, "Look, that vixen is here again. She's really thick-skinned. If it were me, and the man I like impregnated 4 women, I wouldn't go to him." Jiang Rui said with a smile, "What if it's the man in our family?" Liang Xiao giggled. "Then I wouldn't go to him." "You're talking, I'm listening. I don't believe your nonsense." Jiang Rui said with a look of disdain. "Rui, whose side are you on?" Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Jiang Rui. Jiang Rui laughed. "All right, of course I'm on your side. I'll believe whatever you say. Is that good enough?" "That's a good sister. When a man in our family comes back, I'll let him sleep with you first, okay?" Liang Xiao pinched Jiang Rui's collarbone. "Go to hell. You're the one who wants him to sleep with you, right?" Jiang Rui touched Liang Xiao's waist. "Forget it. Let's do it together." Liang Xiao said. "I don't want to." Jiang Rui blushed. The 2 pregnant women chatted and laughed. Although their speed was very slow, they still walked to the entrance of Ping and residence. The trouble that needed to be faced had to be faced, and the people that needed to be faced couldn't be avoided. "Xiao Rui, hello." Tang Yuyan actually greeted the 2 pregnant women in a very friendly manner. "Yuyan, when did you come? Why didn't you call in advance? We can cook for 1 more person," Liang Xiao said with a smile. She used her elbow to quietly touch Jiang Rui's waist. Jiang Rui followed and said, "That's right. I only cooked for 4 people. How about I cook for 1 more?" Liang Xiao rolled her eyes at Jiang Rui. Jiang Rui then shut her mouth. She was actually the most honest among all of Charlotte's women. She used to bully Charlotte, but that was to attract his attention. The real her was actually a very gentle, very shy, and very traditional woman. "No need. I've already eaten," Tang Yuyan said. "You've eaten?" "Yes, why are you here?" Liang Xiao didn't have any intention of inviting Tang Yuyan in. Tang Yuyan frowned. "It's not convenient to talk here. Let's go in." Liang Xiao said, "Why is it not convenient to talk here? I think it's very convenient. If you have something to say, just say it." Tang Yuyan couldn't suppress her anger. "When did you have the right to call the shots here? If it was Fan, I would still give her some face, but you, humph. I don't have to give you face at all." Liang Xiao wasn't angry at all. "You really don't have to give me face, but here I really have the final say." Tang Yuyan was suddenly so angry that she couldn't speak. "Nothing? Then help yourself." Liang Xiao walked to the door, still not inviting Tang Yuyan in. "I'm here to see Charlotte," Tang Yuyan said. "I know he's not dead." These words stirred up another huge wave. For a moment, the reporters standing not far away quickly took pictures, and some people even took the recording. Is Charlotte really not dead? How is this possible? This recording and photo will definitely be tomorrow's headline. Not dead? What's the story behind it? God knows. Every one of Xiaolei's stories is amazing. I really want this to be true. I really want to see him. He carries the heavy burden of our national defense. He is our hero. Among the reporters, a middle-aged man was holding a SLR camera to take pictures of Tang Yuyan and Liang Xiao. He was an oddity among the group of reporters. From the beginning until now, he didn't even say a word, only taking pictures and recording. Inside the door of Ping and residence, Liang Xiao turned to face Tang Yuyan. "He's not dead. But what does this have to do with you? I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you. I want to see him." Tang Yuyan walked to the door. Liang Xiao suddenly cut across and blocked Tang Yuyan's way. "You're pregnant. Don't force me to do it," Tang Yuyan said coldly. Liang Xiao didn't make a move, but said, "Rui, go get someone to help." "Oh." Jiang Rui responded and walked inside. Tang Yuyan was anxious, suddenly kicking Liang Xiao's shoulder. Liang Xiao dodged backwards, avoiding Tang Yuyan's attack. She also became nervous. "Tang Yuyan, what are you doing? If you hurt Charlotte's child, I'll fight you to the death." Wow, it really is Charlotte's child. He admitted it himself. This news will blow up. Cameraman, quickly take pictures of her belly. Inside the door, Tang Yuyin didn't dare to attack Liang Xiao anymore. Liang Xiao was pregnant with Charlotte's child, which was equivalent to her possession. If she hurt the child in Liang Xiao's belly, how could she face Charlotte? Now she still had a glimmer of hope, but if she miscarried the child in Liang Xiao's belly, she would have no hope at all. Jiang Rui returned to the door with Long Bing and Fan Fan. Jiang Rui said first, Tang Yuyin, what do you want? This is a private place. Who gave you the right to break in? I want to see Charlotte. Tang Yuyin said, it's not for private matters, it's for business. Fan Fan said, I don't care if it's for business or private. This is my home. You came to see my husband, but he's not at home. You can go back. If there's anything, go to the company to find him. You're not welcome here. Tang Yuyin dared to make a move on Liang Xiao, but she didn't dare to make a move on Fan Fan. She looked at Long Bing. Long Bing said, he's not back yet. If you have something to say, you could talk to me first. They were both secret agents. Liang Xiao and Tang Yuyin had conflicts, and her emotions would affect her judgment. But Long Bing could remain calm in most situations. She could feel that Tang Yuyin came here for something important. Otherwise, with Tang Yuyin's pride, she would definitely not come to Ping in residence to ask for trouble. Okay, let's talk somewhere else. Liang Xiao said, you guys eat first, I'll be back soon. Long Bing said. The reporters took another round of photos. For pregnant women, we're all in Ping and residence. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that something was wrong with a glance. Just as Long Bing walked out of the door and stood with Tang Yuyin, a very special reporter in the crowd suddenly pressed a very special switch on the SLR camera. Chapter 1045. 3 seconds ago. You guys eat first, I'll be back soon. Long Bing said. Tang Yuyin turned around and stepped over the ancient door of Peace Residence. Click, click, click. A series of electronic flashes flashed. Tang Yuyin suddenly raised her head, and her eyes instantly moved to a direction in front of her. The other SLR cameras were flashing nonstop, but only one reporter's SLR camera did not flash, and the person holding the SLR camera maintained a balanced posture with his arms. The reporter's hand did not even tremble. Get down! Tang Yuyin suddenly leaned to the side and pushed on Long Bing's shoulder. Long Bing, who was about to step over the door, was instantly pushed back. Click! The SLR camera made a light sound. The camera's lens automatically retracted, and something that looked like a bullet shot out. The reporters were still in a daze, so none of them got down. The 4 pregnant women couldn't possibly get down because that might hurt the children in their wombs. As mothers, they would rather be hurt themselves or even die than let their children suffer any harm. Actually, it was only a matter of a second. Tang Yuyin suddenly moved in the direction of the SLR camera's lens. She used her body to cut off the trajectory of the bullet. At the same time, she made a motion to pull out her gun. But she was one step too late. Just as she grabbed the gun at her waist, a specially made bullet exploded in front of her chest. It was not a bullet, and there was no blood spurting. Pah! A cloud of fog suddenly curled toward Tang Yuyin. Tang Yuyin didn't back down. She swung her hand from behind her waist and fired a shot. Bang! The Viper pistol was still moving. A gunshot rang out, and a bullet flew out from the muzzle amidst the fire and smoke. The assassin, disguised as a reporter, did not expect Tang Yuyin to be able to shoot at him under such circumstances. She was so fast and agile that he did not even have a second to react. Pooh! The moment the gunshot rang out, a bullet pierced into the assassin's forehead. His pupils dilated to the limit. Not only did fear occupy every nerve in his body, but it also occupied his eyeballs. Then, blood and Lao Ching Chung spurted out from his forehead. He was dead, but he didn't feel the slightest bit of death. Dong! The assassin disguised as a reporter fell to the ground. From discovering the killer disguised as a reporter to killing him, Tang Yuyin only took 3 seconds. On the 4th second, her body swayed and fell to the ground. Long Bing stepped forward to help her up. Scram! Tang Yuyin roared. Her voice had no strength left. Long Bing suddenly realized something. She quickly stepped back and shouted, "Get out of here!" Liang Xiao didn't wait for Jiang Rui and Fan Fan to react. She grabbed the two pregnant women and ran towards Peace Lodge. The reporters scattered in all directions, but a few of them fell to the ground after running a few steps. The assassin had used a specially made bullet filled with poisonous gas. Long Bing, Liang Xiao, and the two pregnant women that Liang Xiao were dragging stopped in their tracks. The wind was blowing from the direction of the mountain, so the poisonous gas was blocked outside and could not be blown in at all. This was also the reason why Long Bing and Liang Xiao dared to stop in their tracks. If it was the direction of the wind, they would run faster than a rabbit. In the sight of the four pregnant women, Tang Yuyin was lying at the entrance. The assassin that Tang Yuyin had shot dead was lying at the bottom of the steps of the entrance. There were also a few poisoned reporters. Tang Yuyin and them didn't move. No one knew if they were dead or alive. Tang Yuyin, will she die? Liang Xiao's heart was filled with guilt. Long Bing shook her head. I don't know. I'll contact 101 Innings now and ask them to send an expert over. I'm afraid it's too late. Fan Fan sighed. It will take people from 101 Innings 10 minutes to get here, even if they take a helicopter. By then, I'm afraid she will be dead. Liang Xiao's heart felt even worse. If it weren't for her quarreling with Tang Yuyin and asking Tang Yuyin to go in for a talk, the assassin wouldn't have had a chance to kill her. The more she thought about it, the more uncomfortable she felt. She said, I'll go and see her. She needs help. Long Bing grabbed her hand and scolded, calm down. I don't want her to die, but we don't know what kind of poisonous gas the assassin used. If we approach rashly, you may end up like her. Think about the child in your belly. As soon as she heard about the child, Liang Xiao's heart suddenly became nervous, and the idea of helping Tang Yuyin was immediately dispelled. It was every woman's nature to protect their children, and she was no exception. Outside the door, a large group of reporters stopped in the distance and started taking pictures of Tang Yuyin lying on the ground and the poisoned colleagues. With such explosive news in front of them, they didn't want to leave it all. Who's the assassin? Who's that woman? Why does she have a gun with her? Who would dare to assassinate Charlotte? The last assassination definitely didn't succeed. Charlotte didn't die, so they sent someone else. This time, their target is Charlotte's woman and child. Who could it be? How heartless. Call the police. Quick. The scene was a mess. Amidst the chaos, a taxi drove over from the direction of Whitestag. The taxi stopped near the main entrance, and the door opened. A Native American rushed to the entrance. He picked up Tang Yuyin and ran towards the residence of Peace, shouting as he ran, "Get out of the way! Stay away!" That voice. It was Charlotte's voice. The reporters might still be wondering how a native could speak such fluent and standard Chinese, but to the four pregnant women in Ping and residence, it was already a clear signal. Their man was back. Charlotte's voice snapped the four pregnant women out of their daze, and they hurriedly backed away. They saw Charlotte run towards the study with Tang Yuyin in his arms, and they followed suit. But before they could take 2 steps, Charlotte's voice sounded again. Go back to your rooms and wait. It's dangerous. Charlotte's voice was filled with anxiety and nervousness. Long Bing was equally anxious. Be careful, Liang Xiao said. Leave it to the people from innings 101. Charlotte didn't even turn around. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. He actually didn't know if he would be fine, because he wasn't sure if his super immune system could resist the toxins in Tang Yuyin's body. However, just before he picked up Tang Yuyin, he had already determined from the fragments of the specially made bullet on the ground that the poison gas used by the assassin was the poison gas that my Hattori had given to Li Yuden to assassinate him. And this was also the reason why he carried Tang Yuyin to the study room. He still had the antidote he got from my Hattori, and it was locked in the safe in his study room. Whether Tang Yuyin could live or not depended on that bottle of antidote. Charlotte kicked open the door of the study room and rushed in. He placed Tang Yuyin on the sofa, opened the safe, and took out the bottle of antidote. He pinched Tang Yuyin's jaw open and poured the antidote into her mouth. Set a point, he poured it into his mouth. He had already tested the contents of the antidote to make sure it wasn't laced with poison. Given Eugene Lee's value, the CIA wouldn't kill Eugene Lee before they got their hands on the formula for Mystic Metal X, so they wouldn't give Eugene Lee a fake antidote. Tang Yuyin didn't react in the slightest even after taking the antidote. Charlotte was extremely nervous. He placed his hand on Tang Yuyin's neck and found that her pulse was very weak. Her heart could stop at any moment. He suddenly recalled something. My Hattori said that this poison can be spread through the air and that it takes 5 minutes for a person to die from inhalation. I saw Tang Yuyin collapse at the entrance of White's Tag. It took me 2 minutes to get to her side and 1.5 minutes to get to the study. It took me less than a minute to open the safe and give her the antidote. She still has 30 seconds left. But why is she still so weak? Just as he thought about that, Charlotte's heart suddenly throbbed in pain, and he almost stopped. The pain was so excruciating that Charlotte suspected he would die. But just as he was about to lose all his strength and fall to the ground, the mysterious energy suddenly awakened and entered his blood. His blood infused with the mysterious energy entered his heart, and his heart started beating rapidly. What a terrifying poison. It targets the heart and nerves. Just a little bit of it was already so terrifying for me. Yet Tang Yuyin inhaled so much and wasted so much time. Charlotte didn't dare to continue that line of thought. It was like cancer. The early stages were manageable and treatable, but the later stages were hopeless. That was Tang Yuyin's current situation. She knew what kind of poison it was and had the antidote, but because she inhaled too much and took too long, the antidote couldn't save her. Was she going to leave this world just like that? Charlotte's mind uncontrollably replayed the scene of him and her relying on each other on Ta Wang's snow mountain, as well as the scene of Tang Yuyin sacrificing herself to save Long Bing and his other 3 women. His heart was filled with guilt and sorrow. Tears flowed out of his eyes. Wait, my blood contains the antidote, I don't know. Without much thought or hesitation, Charlotte bit his wrist. He didn't even have time to look for a knife when this thought popped up in his mind. Blood gushed out from his wrist. He pinched open Tang Yuyin's jaw again and placed his bitten wrist between her lips, letting the blood pour into her mouth. At the same time, he used his other hand to press on Tang Yuyin's chest. He pressed on it again and again, helping her heart to supply blood to her body. 2 minutes later, Tang Yuyin choked on a mouthful of blood and sprayed it on Charlotte's face. She might have drunk too much blood, or there might be some other reason. But that wasn't important. The important thing was that she was awake. Cough. Tang Yuyin's voice was very weak. She saw Charlotte and Charlotte's wrist that was still by her mouth. That wrist was bleeding, and she was drinking his blood. Seeing that Tang Yuyin had woken up, Charlotte was relieved, but tears flowed down again. This time, it wasn't because of guilt or sadness, but because of excitement and joy. Cough, cough. Puffed. Tang Yuyin choked on another mouthful of blood. You don't give me more blood. Charlotte came back to his senses. He hurriedly lifted his wrist and pinched the wound. Take off the mask. I want to see what you look like. Tang Yuyin said. Charlotte followed her wish and took off the human skin mask on his face, revealing his real face. His face was sunny and handsome, and it was still so good-looking. A smile appeared on Tang Yuyin's face. I am going to die. Can you kiss me? Charlotte almost agreed, but then he thought that it wasn't right. Wasn't she already awake? Her condition looked 10 times better than before. Why did she say that she was going to die? Hurry up, I'm going to die, Tang Yuyin said, and then coughed up blood, but it was Charlotte's blood that she coughed up. Charlotte smiled. You won't die. Don't worry. Close your eyes and rest. When you wake up, everything will be fine. 2 tears silently fell from the corners of Tang Yuyin's eyes. Yuyin, can we not do this? Charlotte didn't know how to face her. Just then, the rumbling sound of a helicopter engine came from above. Charlotte had an idea. Wait, I'll go see who's coming. With that, he turned and ran. The corner of Tang Yuyin's mouth secretly revealed a smile. Chapter 1046. The people who came by helicopter were Shi Boren and Tang Buchuan. Tang Buchuan ran toward Xia Lei as soon as he got off the helicopter. His voice reached Xia Lei before he even arrived. Xiaolei, how's my sister? Charlotte said. Yuyan is fine, but she's still very weak now. Take her to the hospital as soon as possible. Take me to see her. Tang Buchuan was very anxious because the brother and sister were connected. Come with me. Charlotte went to the study. Sherborin quickly caught up with him. Where are the killers? Who are the killers? Charlotte said. The killers have been killed by Yu Yan. I haven't had time to investigate. I don't know who they are, but they're most likely killers from the CIA or the FA organization. Damn it, they are so arrogant, Sherborin said angrily. His heart was filled with anger. When they came to the door of the study, Charlotte saw 4 pregnant women standing in the distance. They looked very cautious and didn't come over. They actually wanted to come over and have a look, but they didn't dare to come over considering the safety of the children. But it was good that they came over. They shouldn't have been involved in this matter. Charlotte took Tang Buchuan and Sherborin to the study. Tang Yuyan closed her eyes and looked pale. Her mouth, chin, and chest were covered with blood. She looked terrible. Yuyan. Tang Buchuan was shocked by Tang Yuyan's condition. He ran to the sofa and grabbed Tang Yuyan's hand. Tang Yuyan opened her eyes and looked at Tang Buchuan. I'm fine. Charlotte saved me. You vomited so much blood. How can you say you're fine? Tang Buchuan said worriedly. That's Charlotte's blood, Tang Yuyan said. Ah. Tang Buchuan turned around to look at Charlotte. Only then did he realize that there was a wound on Charlotte's wrist. It was still bleeding, but very little. Tang Yuyan revealed a bitter smile. Charlotte, I owe you another life. Charlotte said, Don't say that. If it weren't for you, Long Bing and the others would have been hurt. I owe you, not you. Long Bing? What does this matter have to do with Long Bing? Sherborin angrily said, Call her over. I want to talk to her. Boss, sure. What do you want to talk to her about? Charlotte asked. Only then did Sherborin come to his senses. Long Bing was no longer a 101 innings employee, and he was no longer Long Bing's boss. She was now Charlotte's woman. How could he order Charlotte's woman around? Was she someone he could reprimand whenever he wanted? Tang Yuyan said, Godfather, it's none of Bing's business. I'm like this because of myself. Don't worry about it. Forget it. I have nothing to talk about. Even Bao Zhang can't figure out what's going on between you two, Sherborin said angrily. Charlotte said, Buchuan, send Yu Yan to the hospital. She needs a comprehensive examination and relevant treatment. I don't want to go to the hospital, Tang Yuyan said. Tang Buchuan glared at Tang Yuyan. Are you still trying to be brave? I'll take you to the hospital. I don't want to go. Tang Yuyan didn't listen to her brother's words. Sherborin scolded. Be obedient and go to the hospital. How can you not go to the hospital in this state? No. Tang Yuyan turned her head away. She didn't want to see Sherborin's serious old face. Tang Buchuan looked back at Charlotte with a strange look in his eyes. Charlotte bit the bullet and said, Yuyan, be obedient and go to the hospital. Your condition is very unstable. You need to go to the hospital for examination and treatment. Well, I'll go to the hospital, Tang Yuyan said. Her voice was very gentle, and there was a sense of obedience. Tang Buchuan and Sherborin couldn't help but look at each other. One brother and one godfather were quite speechless. Their words didn't work at all, but Charlotte's words were more effective than orders. Seeing that Tang Yuyan agreed, Tang Buchuan was about to carry Tang Yuyan and take her to the helicopter. But before his hand could touch Tang Yuyan rolled her eyes at him. Her eyes were filled with disgust and disgust. Tang Buchuan seemed to realize something. He stood up and stepped back. Charlotte, help me carry Yu Yan to the helicopter. I'll contact the hospital and ask them to prepare. After that, he took out his phone and made a call while walking, regardless of how Charlotte felt. Charlotte looked at Sherborin. Sherborin glared at Charlotte. You won't let me do this kind of thing, will you? Charlotte had nothing to say. He walked to the sofa, reached out and carried Tang Yuyan, and then walked to the door of the study. Tang Yuyan curled up in Charlotte's arms. She was as quiet as a big white rabbit who had eaten a carrot. Just as Charlotte was about to walk out of the study, she reached out and hugged Charlotte's neck. As a result, when Charlotte carried her out of the study, the 4 pregnant women standing in the distance saw this scene at a glance. The 4 pregnant women watched as their men held Tang Yuyin in their arms. None of them had a smile on their faces. Tang Yuyin saved them, and Tang Yuyin was also injured because of them. Their man carried Tang Yuyin and sent Tang Yuyin to the hospital. This was something that should be done. However, they still felt uncomfortable in their hearts, as well as a trace of worry. If that guy is still alive, I really want to kill him again, Liang Xiao said hatefully. Long Bing smiled bitterly. What's the use even if you kill him 10 times? No matter what conflict we have with Tang Yuyin, she did save us this time. If it weren't for her, I'm afraid we would have died. Liang Xiao didn't know what to say. She and Tang Yuyin would quarrel whenever they met. But this time, she had to admit that she owed Tang Yuyin a life. If she counted the life of the child in her belly, she actually owed Tang Yuyin 2 lives. Long Bing, Fan Fan, and Jiang Rui were the same as her. Fan Fan smiled bitterly. She saved us, so we owe her. That's right, I admit. But I'm worried that she will use this matter to make a fuss. You also know that the biggest weakness of our family is that she won't refuse people. Tang Yuyin saved us and our child. If she wants, she couldn't go on. What does she want? Jiang Rui said. Does she want to poach us? Fan Fan smiled bitterly and said, Rui has never stopped poaching us, okay? Jiang Rui frowned. She didn't know what to do in the face of such a thing. However, a picture of a dining table appeared in her mind. The dining table originally only needed 5 sets of bowls and chopsticks, but the table she imagined had 6 sets of bowls and chopsticks. The extra set of bowls and chopsticks belonged to Tang Yuyin. You don't have to worry, Liang Xiao said. Tang Yuyin is a woman of the Tang family. The people of the Tang family are arrogant. The head of the family will definitely not let Tang Yuyin marry Charlotte like us. The people of the Tang family want all of Charlotte. She and the people of the Tang family are too greedy, so they're doomed to get nothing. Fan Fan said, What if Tang Yuyin is willing to be like us? Liang Xiao, she was stumped by this question. Just as the 4 pregnant women were murmuring, Charlotte carried Tang Yuyin to the helicopter. He said to the pilot, Take her to the hospital immediately. The pilot nodded and then started the helicopter's engine. Tang Yuyin took Charlotte's hand and said, Won't you accompany me to the hospital? Her eyes were full of sadness and longing, and Charlotte's heart was somewhat melted. He said, You go to the hospital first, and I will come later. I have to take a look at the killer, and I want to find out his identity. I won't allow such a thing to happen again. Well, I will wait for you at the hospital. Tang Yuyin let go of Charlotte's hand. Tang Boichuan got on the helicopter, and Sherborne stayed. He and Charlotte came to the gate together. The killer's body was still at the gate, and no one dared to move or approach. Not far from the killer were the bodies of several reporters. They were not as lucky as Tang Yuyin, who had the antidote and could drink the blood of the super-immune body. It was unfair to them, but there was no fairness in this world. When Sherborne was about to walk to the killer's body, Charlotte stopped him. Mr. Sher, don't go near him. I will go and have a look. Your life is more important than mine. Let me go, Sherborne said. There were some aspects of Sherborne that Xia Lei didn't like at all. In fact, he was even disgusted by it. However, when it came to the bigger picture and the interests of the country, Sherborne was always able to sacrifice himself for the greater good. This was something that he admired. He said, Mr. Sher, let me go. I have the antidote, but you don't have it. Sherborne couldn't persuade him, so he had to say, Be careful there. If you can't do it, wait for the experts to come. Charlotte had already walked to the killer's body, and when he approached the body, he awakened the ability of X-ray vision. He used his X-ray vision on the killer's body, which was very clean. There was nothing on the killer except for a few $100 bills. There was no ID card, no driver's license, and nothing to prove his identity. Charlotte wanted to find the killer's cell phone, but the killer didn't even have a cell phone. Charlotte stopped using his X-ray vision, and his eyes moved to the killer's face. It was a yellow face, and he had never seen it before. His forehead was torn open by the bullet, and the flesh was rolled out, so it could be seen at a glance that he wasn't wearing a human skin mask. Charlotte secretly said in his heart, The body is very clean, and there is no makeup on it. It's a complete stranger. Is he a killer from the CIA or the FA organization? Or maybe he's a killer from the Hattori family. Charlotte suddenly thought of the Hattori family. On the tower of the Great Wall, it was my Hattori who found him and gave him the poison to assassinate himself. The poison used by this killer was the same poison, and this killer was most likely a killer from the Hattori family. After determining the identity of the killer, Charlotte's heart was ignited with anger. He said bitterly in his heart, "My Hattori Masao, it's not enough that you want to kill me, but you also want to kill my woman and child. Well, you want to kill my family, so I'll kill yours too." The horn of revenge had been blown. "Charlotte, did you find anything?" Sherborne asked. Charlotte said, "It's not convenient to talk here. Let's go to the hospital, and we'll talk on the way." "Well, let's leave this to the experts." "Take my car," Sherborne said. "Take my car." Charlotte looked at Long Bing, who was standing far away, and said, "Bing, take your car. Let's go to the hospital." "Okay, I'll go right away," Long Bing said. "We'll go too," Fan Fan said. Yes, let's go and have a look," Liang Xiao echoed. "I'll get a few bottles of water to drink." "Pregnant women need to drink more water," Jiang Rui said. Charlotte looked back at Sherborne. "Well, I'll take your car." Sherborne. Chapter 1047. In the special ward of the Army Hospital. "Mr. Tang, your sister's condition is very stable, but her white blood cells are a little low. She'll be fine after taking some medicine. Don't worry, she'll be fine after resting for 2 days." "Thank you, doctor," Tang Buchuan said. "By the way, Mr. Tang, there's a very strange thing I want to ask you." "What is it?" "There was a lot of blood in Miss Tang's stomach when she came, and it was also on her body. We took some samples, and the results showed that there was a very strong antibody in the blood, and it happened to be that antibody that saved Miss Tang." Tang Buchuan immediately thought of Charlotte, and the image of Charlotte's wrist dripping blood also appeared in his mind. He knew what the reason was, and it shocked him, but he still looked very calm. "I don't know what the reason is. Doctor, you don't have to worry about this kind of thing. Give me the test results and the sample, and you can pretend that nothing happened, okay?" The doctor was slightly stunned, but he still nodded. "Yes, I'll take care of it right away." The doctor left. Tang Buchuan came to the bed, and he looked at Tang Yuyan with burning eyes. "Yuyan, did you hear that? Charlotte's blood has antibodies to the toxin that can kill people in a few minutes. He really evolved like a Superman." Tang Yuyan looked very calm. "You're making a fuss about this?" On the Tavong Snow Mountain in Shi Province, in an environment of -20 degrees Celsius, he gave me all his clothes, and he only had a pair of underwear on him. That was the 100 people he killed that night. Tang Buchuan didn't say anything, and he looked very worried. Just then, Tang Tianlong and Zhang Yumei came in, followed by Tang Yinhai, the elder of the Tang family. "Yuyan, how are you feeling? Are you okay?" Zhang Yumei asked anxiously as soon as she came in. "I'm fine, Mom," Tang Yuyan said. Zhang Yumei held Tang Yuyan's hand. "It's good that you're fine. If something happened to you, how would I live?" "Yumei, don't say such useless things." Tang Yinhai said, "Yuyan, I heard from Boren that you were injured in order to save a woman. Is that true?" Tang Yuyan nodded. "It's true." Tang Yinhai slammed the dragon head crutch in his hand on the ground and said sternly, "How can you be so stupid? If his woman dies, won't you have a chance?" Tang Yuyan was stunned. She didn't dare to talk back to Tang Yinhai, but she thought it was wrong in her heart. Those were Charlotte's 4 pregnant women, 4 corpses, and 8 lives. If she got together with Xia Lei because of his woman's death, she would never forgive herself for the rest of her life. "Silly daughter, that killer was after Charlotte's woman. You took the bullet for them. If you died, would they be sad for you? I think without you as their love rival, I'm afraid they won't have time to laugh." "Don't say that." Tang Yuyan said, "I was there at that time, and I was also the target of the attack. How can I not take action in that situation? Also, if the woman and her children are all dead, I won't have a chance. He will seal himself off, and no one will be able to enter his heart. Alas," Tang Tianlong sighed. "This is fate. You and Charlotte were a perfect match, but Fan Fan appeared. Now, not only Fan Fan, but also Charlotte has 4 pregnant women living in his safe area. What a mess. Yu Yin, I warn you, Tang Yunhai said sternly. If Charlotte doesn't divorce, you can't be with him. Tang Yuyin smiled bitterly. You said it as if he wants to be with me. A man like him can have any woman he wants. What am I? Tang Yuyin in his eyes. Nonsense. You're degrading yourself. Tang Yunhai said angrily. Which woman of my Tang family isn't noble and excellent? Which one of them isn't outstanding? What you said is simply a disgrace to our Tang family. Tang Yuyin wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. She avoided Tang Yunhai's stern eyes. She understood what her grandfather meant. Tang family's women were worthy of anyone, even the king. She couldn't break the Tang family's rules just because she loved Charlotte, nor could she break Charlotte's rules just because he was outstanding. Tang Yuyin's heart was sour, as if a handful of salt had been sprinkled on it. The biggest obstacle for her to be with Charlotte was not Charlotte's 4 pregnant women, but the Tang family. The Tang family's ancient rules and reputation. Forget it, forget it. Tang Buchuan came out to ease the atmosphere. Dad, Grandpa, Yin just saved her life, which was given by Charlotte. She doesn't feel good about it. Please don't blame her anymore. Did Charlotte save you? Tang Tianlong looked at Tang Yuyin and asked. Tang Yuyin nodded, but didn't say anything. He should save you. After all, without you, his women would have been finished. You don't owe him anything, but he owes you, Tang Tianlong said. Charlotte saved Tang Yuyin's life once. Tang Yuyin had saved Xia Lei's 4 pregnant women, but she had sacrificed the lives of 4 women and 8. According to the number, Charlotte owed Tang Yuyin 7 lives, which was indeed what he owed Tang Yuyin. Dad, how can it be calculated like this? Tang Yuyin muttered. She didn't agree with this. Tang Tianlong said sternly, Shut up. Tang Yuyin closed her mouth, feeling wronged. Outside, she was the Tang family's young lady, the director of 101 innings, and held an important position. But at home, in front of the older generation of the Tang family, she was nothing. She was just a junior who could be ordered around, and even a tool to seek benefits for the Tang family. Peaceful was in the same situation back then, but compared to Tang Yin, Peaceful's situation was better. She could at least run away from home, but where could Tang Yuyin go? Her bones were branded with the Tang family's brand. Dad, Grandpa. Tang Buochuan changed the topic. I'm afraid you won't believe it if I say it. Tang Yunhai and Tang Tianlong's eyes moved to Tang Buochuan. Tang Tianlong said, What is it? Don't hesitate. If you have something to say, say it. Charlotte used his blood to detoxify Yu Yin, Tang Buochuan said. The doctor just told me that there is a super antibody in Charlotte's blood. If it wasn't for that super antibody, I'm afraid Yu Yin would have died. There's actually such a thing? Tang Tianlong looked very surprised. Tang Buochuan said, Several journalists died in front of the peace residence. Our experts have already given the autopsy results. Our experts said that the toxin targeted the heart and nerves. It's very powerful, and the victim will die naturally within a few minutes. If there is an antidote and the time of the poisoning doesn't exceed 3 minutes, there may be a cure. But once it exceeds 3 minutes, even a god can't save them. I'm thinking that Charlotte is really evolving. He's already so powerful now, and to what extent he will evolve in the future, and how strong his ability will be. This is something that no one can predict. Tang Buochuan's words could actually be summed up in 8 words that was getting stronger and stronger and limitless. Grandpa. Tang Buochuan looked at Tang Yunhai. I think Tang Yunhai seemed to realize what Tang Buochuan wanted to say. So he interrupted him, Come out, Buochuan. I have something to talk to you. All right. Tang Buochuan followed Tang Yunhai out of the ward. Tang Yunhai walked through the corridor and came to the stairwell before stopping. He looked at the bottom of the stairs, then looked at the top of the stairs, and finally looked at the situation at the end of the corridor. What do you want to talk to me about, Grandpa? Asked Tang Buochuan. After Tang Yunhai confirmed that there was no one around, he said aloud, It's not what I want to talk to you, but what you want to say. There's no one here, so finish what you wanted to say just now. Tang Buochuan smiled. Grandpa, aren't you being too careful? Yu Yin is your granddaughter. Can't she listen to it? She can't. Why? Umph. Tang Yunhai unhappily said. She's been poisoned by Charlotte and has thrown the Tang family's interest to the back of her mind. From now on, it's better not for her to know some important decisions of the family. I'll consider it when she wakes up and repents. It's not that serious, is it? Tang Buchuan couldn't believe it. You're too straightforward, brat. You don't understand a woman's mind at all, said Tang Yunhai. We've spent a lot of manpower and material resources for so many years to make her the director of 101 innings. She's the biggest interest of our Tang family, but she actually risked her life to save Charlotte's woman. Had Charlotte come back a few seconds later, she would have been dead. Tell me, isn't this throwing the Tang family's interests to the back of her mind? Tang Wuchuan couldn't find any words to refute. Tang Yunhai continued. Yu Yin has replaced Sherborne's position, and you'll take my position sooner or later. I've arranged this in advance. Your performance is good, but not her. Tang Wuchuan still didn't know what to say. Say something, Tang Yunhai said sternly. What I just wanted to say is that the AE capsule thing is true. Charlotte has entered an advanced evolution because of that drug, said Tang Wuchuan. Everything he has is based on his ability. We can't get Charlotte as a son-in-law, but we can get... He didn't continue. Tang Yunhai glared at Tang Wuchuan. Go on. We can get his child, and we can train his child to be the successor of the Tang family. We can't say that our child can inherit Charlotte's excellent genes and ability, but as long as he can inherit 50%, our Tang family will become the most powerful family in Huagua. Tang Wuchuan finally said it out. You mean to let Yu Yin? Tang Yunhai couldn't say it out. As the head of the Tang family, such a matter made his face flush. Actually, it's not necessary. Tang Wuchuan whispered in Tang Yunhai's ear. I can let the doctor anesthetize Yu Yin and take one of her eggs, and then... Do you have any way to get that thing from Charlotte? We don't need to do it ourselves. The people above haven't given up the research on Charlotte. The expert group has the authority to get that liquid from Charlotte's body, and then we can train a super child of our Tang family, said Tang Wuchuan. Tang Yunhai pondered for a moment, and a smile suddenly appeared on his face. Your idea is very good. It's good if you can succeed, but the child will grow up soon. What about you? Me? For the future of the Tang family, I don't mind not being the head of the family, said Tang Wuchuan. The child will be under your name. You can let him take over your position when the time is right, said Tang Yunhai. Tang Wuchuan smiled. Okay, I'll go talk to the doctor. The grandfather and grandson left the stairwell and went to the doctor's office together. Just then, the elevator door opened. A group of people suddenly walked out of the elevator. There was a man and 4 women. The man was sunny and handsome, and he looked good in every way. The women were all as beautiful as flowers, sexy and charming. Although they all had big bellies, they didn't look fat at all. Instead, they had the beauty of pregnant women. Charlotte came to see the patient with his family. Chapter 1048. A man with 4 pregnant women, all of whom were extremely good-looking. Such a family team would attract attention no matter where they went. Moreover, this was the family team of the father of China's rifles. He was currently ranked number 1 on all the search engines in the world. Even the A-list celebrities had to step aside. However, Charlotte didn't feel anything about it. He wasn't deliberately keeping a low profile. He was simply elusive. Tang Yunhai couldn't help but snort coldly when he saw Charlotte and his pregnant women. He didn't look happy at all. Charlotte had run away from the Tang family's wedding in front of so many people. He had chosen Fan over Tang Yuyan. There was always a barrier in his heart that he couldn't get over. Charlotte, on the other hand, seemed very relaxed. He walked over with a smile on his face. How has old Master Tang been? Why are you here? How is Yin? You don't have to worry about her. She won't die anytime soon, Tang Yunhai said impatiently. Xia Lei's nose was full of dust. Fan Fan couldn't stand anyone who disrespected her man. In her heart, her man was a hero. Hearing Tang Yunhai's words, she wrinkled her nose and said unhappily, Tang, but she only managed to say one word before Charlotte grabbed her hand. Fan Fan, Let's go see Yu Yin. He knew his own woman like the back of his hand, so he knew exactly what Fan Fan wanted to do. With Fan Fan's status and status, even if she lectured Tang Yin high, he wouldn't dare to do anything to her. But it wasn't necessary. After all, Tang Yin Hai was Tang Yuyin's grandfather. Charlotte was dissatisfied with Tang Yuyin because of the leak of Long Bing's operation in Japan. He didn't have a good impression of her either. But after what happened today, he couldn't treat Tang Yuyin the same way he used to. Charlotte, go to the ward by yourself. My father and mother are accompanying Yu Yin in the ward. Grandpa and I have to go to the doctor's office to understand the situation, Tang Bochuan said. All right, you can go about your business. I asked the medical guide on my way here, and the guide told me the room number. I'll be able to find it, Charlotte said, then walked to Tang Yuyin's ward with his 4 pregnant women. In the corridor, a nurse pushed a cart and walked over. She looked curiously at Charlotte and the 4 pregnant women behind him. From the look in her eyes, she seemed to be guessing the relationship between Xia Lei and the 4 pregnant women. But no matter how she guessed, she couldn't guess that this was a family with 4 wives. Just when Charlotte was about to walk past the nurse's shoulder, the nurse suddenly reached out to grab Charlotte's arm. Charlotte took a step sideways, dodged the nurse's hand, and then reached out to grab the nurse's neck. His hand reached the young nurse's snow-white neck in the blink of an eye. However, just when he was about to grab the nurse's neck, he changed the direction of his palm and gently put it on the nurse's shoulder. He smiled and said, "Miss Nurse, what can I do for you?" Long Bing and Liang Shuriyao were already prepared to attack, but seeing that Xia Lei had given up on attacking, they put down their hands that were about to draw their guns. I. The nurse was so excited that her face turned red. Are you Mr. Charlotte? Yes, I'm Charlotte. Do you know me? Or what can I do for you? Charlotte was very kind. No, I have something to do. The nurse was still very excited. Mr. Xia, you are dead, aren't you? Fan Fan scolded, "Hey, how can you talk like that?" "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Her lower abdomen said nervously, "It's because our unit held an activity to learn from Mr. Lei. I know a lot about Mr. Xia's heroic deeds. Mr. Xia is my idol. Mr. Xia, can you give me an autograph?" Charlotte. He had almost forgotten that he was already dead. All over the country, people were learning about his heroic deeds and his patriotism. He had been made into a hero of this era. Almost all the people in the country knew that he was dead, but now he was back in one piece. The nurse looked at him as if she had seen a ghost, so there was nothing strange about it. "Okay, no problem. I'll give you an autograph." Charlotte agreed readily. "Mr. Xia, can you sign on my clothes?" The nurse looked at Charlotte eagerly, holding the pen in both hands and waiting for Charlotte to take it. Charlotte nodded. He moved to the back of the nurse and signed the name Charlotte on her work clothes with her gel pen. Charlotte returned to the nurse, returned the gel pen to the nurse, and whispered in her ear, "I've written a phone number on your clothes. Call it later, okay? You?" The nurse's eyes began to sparkle. Charlotte said, "Tell that person that I'm still alive. I'm fine. Tell her not to worry." After that, he brushed past her shoulder. The nurse was still standing there in a daze, looking at Charlotte's back. 4 big bellies came, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. The 4 big bellies stretched out a hand and patted the nurse's shoulder together. No one spoke, but there was an invisible murderous aura. Their momentum seemed to make the surrounding temperature drop a lot. They only lacked a pair of sunglasses. If they put on sunglasses and long windbreakers, they would definitely be like female underworld bosses. The 4 big bellies brushed past each other. The nurse didn't dare to stay. She pushed the tool cart and ran away. Back to the nurse's station, the nurse took off her white work clothes and saw that Charlotte, written on her clothes by Charlotte, and a string of numbers hidden in the sleeve. It was a phone number. The nurse took out her mobile phone and dialed the number. A woman's voice came from the phone. "Hello, I'm Shinta Tianyin." "Who's this?" "Ah, Shinta Tianyin." The nurse covered her mouth. "I'll give you 5 seconds to answer my question. How do you know this number?" Shinta Tianyin's voice was dissatisfied and impatient. The nurse calmed down a little. She hurriedly said, "It's Mr. Charlotte who gave me the number." "Wait, what did you say? Who gave you the number?" "Mr. Charlotte." "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense. I just saw him. He even gave me an autograph. He gave me a number. He told me to tell you that he's still alive. Don't worry. The nurse said, "Pa." The sound of a glass falling on the ground came from the phone. Miss Shinto, are you okay? Where are you? Tell me. Mr. Charlotte didn't say. I have to ask him if he wants to tell you. The nurse said, I'll give you 100,000. I just want your address. Army Hospital. A second later, the nurse gave the answer. Shinta Tianyin had already hung up the phone. Things that could be solved with money were never a problem for the Queen of Yinqian. She and Charlotte were the same on this point. In a ward, Charlotte took the lead, and the four big bellies followed. They entered Tang Yuyin's ward like a string of fish. This scene made Tang Tianlong and Zhang Yumei's eyes widen. The couple didn't greet Charlotte. They just looked at him unhappily. Charlotte smiled bitterly. He knew that in Tang Tianlong and Zhang Yumei's hearts, he had become the kind of man who abandoned them after using them. He braced himself and greeted them. Hello, Uncle, Auntie. What's so good about it? He won't die. Zhang Yumei said indifferently. Tang Tianlong sneered. Chairman Xia, I have to congratulate you. You're going to be a father soon. Moreover, you're going to be the father of several children. You must treat me to your 1-month celebration. He definitely wouldn't go even if he was invited. Charlotte smiled. Okay, I'll personally send the invitation to Uncle. The four big bellies didn't greet Tang Tianlong and Zhang Yumei. They went straight to the bed to talk to Tang Yuyin. Yuyin, thank you, Liang Xiao said with some shame. In the past, I misunderstood you. It's nothing. I quite like arguing with you. Tang Yuyin said with a smile. However, the corner of her eyes stayed on Charlotte. Long Bing held Tang Yuyin's hand. Are you feeling better now? I'm better. The doctor said that I'll be fine after taking some medicine and resting for 2 days. Tang Yuyin said, if you need anything, just tell us. Don't be shy with us. Let us do something for you. Fan Fan said. Her words were magnanimous. Tang Yuyin smiled. Okay, I'll ask if I need anything. Jiang Rui put a thermos on the bedside table. Yuyin, this is the chicken soup I made. Drink some. It's good for your body. Thank you, Rui. Tang Yuyin was also very polite. The 5 women chatted politely and seemed very cautious. Charlotte originally wanted to say a few words to Tang Yuyin. However, in front of the 4 big bellies, he couldn't even make the decision to approach Tang Yuyin. What's more, Tang Tianlong and Zhang Yumei were also in the ward. Tang Yuyin didn't show anything on the surface. She was still smiling. However, she was very depressed in her heart. What she wanted was for Charlotte to visit her alone. Then, she could be alone with him. She could say anything she wanted. She saved his 4 big bellies. She could do anything she wanted, right? But she never thought that Charlotte would bring 4 big bellies. 4 eyes followed him the whole time. 8 eyes monitored him the whole time. What else could she say? Well, you've stayed long enough. Yuya needs to rest. You've already visited her. You can go now. Zhang Yumei asked them to leave. The 4 women with big bellies seemed to have discussed this beforehand. After thanking Tang Yuyin, they turned around and left. Liang Xiao took Charlotte's arm and said, Honey, let's go home. Charlotte said to Tang Yuyin, Yuyin, take good care of yourself. Don't worry about the case. I'll also investigate it. If I find anything, I'll tell you immediately. Tang Yuyin sighed in her heart, but there was a smile on her face. Okay, I'll wait for your good news. The 4 big bellies surrounded Charlotte and walked to the door. Just when Charlotte walked to the door, Tang Yuyin suddenly thought of something. She said, Charlotte, the place you asked Bing to tell me about, my people have been monitoring it. It's currently closed. I don't want to alert the enemy, so I haven't taken any action. Charlotte turned around and said, I know. Have a good rest. The 4 big bellies and their men left. After the door of the ward was closed, Zhang Yumei said with disgust, What kind of person is he? He's a national hero. He's a big pervert. Marrying Fan Fan is not enough. He has 3 other women. Does he think he's the emperor? Mom, don't say it. You don't understand what's going on between Charlotte and them. Tang Yuyin said, I don't understand. You do. You're the mistress of Rema Group. I don't like that Liang Xiao. She's a vixen. Zhang Yumei said. Tang Yuyin couldn't communicate with her mother anymore. A few minutes later, Tang Buchuan and Tang Yinhai returned to Tang Yuyin's ward. They didn't mention anything about what they had talked about. They just talked about topics related to Charlotte for a while. A few minutes later, the door of the ward was suddenly pushed open. Shinda Tianin rushed in. Her eyes glanced around the ward anxiously. Her excited mood instantly cooled down. She was stunned for a long time before she said, "Where's Charlotte?" Tang Yuyin said, "He left. But I suggest you call him instead of going to Ping and House to see him. Those 4 tigresses are very exclusive." Shinta Tianin's tears suddenly rolled down. The Tang family just looked at her quietly, as if they were looking at a tragic character in a TV series. Chapter 1049. Night fell and Peace Residence was brightly lit. What was different from usual was that the special forces had increased their patrols and security. The entire Peace Residence and Rema Group were surrounded by armed special forces. After what happened during the day, the higher-ups were furious and increased security was inevitable. However, based on what happened during the day, it was hard to guard against an unarmed reporter. It wasn't the fault of the special forces guarding the place. In the underground dungeon of Peace Residence, 2 men faced each other. One was standing and the other was tied up. "Do you understand now?" After a minute, Charlotte broke the silence in the dungeon. "You've been locked up for a while. If you understand now, your life might change tonight. Are you trying to bribe me?" Eugene Lee's lips curled into a disdainful smile. Charlotte laughed. "I really don't understand what's going on in your head. What did the CIB give you? Honor? They don't even dare to admit your identity. Money? How much did you earn from the CIB? 10 million USD? I'm afraid not. You stole Rema Group's secrets and even risked your life to assassinate me. How much did they give you? Only 2 million USD. Is it worth it for you to earn so little? Let me tell you, the people who work for me earn more than this amount." Eugene Lee looked at Charlotte coldly and didn't say anything. "Tell me that the CIB's Kyoto Intelligence Station is temporarily closed. I'm sure you still have a safe house or something like that. Where's your safe house?" Charlotte didn't give up. "If I tell you, will you give me a quick death?" Eugene Lee asked. Charlotte said, "No, I want you to work for me. You want me to be a double agent?" Eugene Lee's expression was one of shock. "What's wrong with that? There are plenty of double agents in this world. Not only can you earn money from the CIB, but you can also earn money from me. I'll give you an annual salary of 6 million USD, and I'll transfer 500,000 US dollars into your designated account every month. This doesn't even include the bonus I gave you. If you include the bonus, it wouldn't be a problem for you to earn $10 million a year from me." Charlotte said, "Ha ha ha." Eugene Lee laughed. "What are you laughing at? Did I say something wrong? Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? You tricked me into giving you information about the safe house, then you killed me. You don't need a double agent, do you? Something's not right." Charlotte shook his head. "I can show you my sincerity. Give me your account number, and I will immediately transfer you a year's salary of 6 million USD. Isn't that enough to show my sincerity?" Eugene Lee hesitated. "People like you only want money. I'll give you money, a lot of money, and you'll work for me. This is just a deal. Don't overthink it." Charlotte continued to persuade. But after saying this, he didn't say anything else. He looked at Eugene Lee and waited for his answer. It wasn't until a minute later that Eugene Lee finished his consideration. He said, "I'll give you my account number. You transfer 6 million USD into my account first, then we'll talk." "No problem." Charlotte walked to the tool table with the torture equipment. He turned on the hacker's computer on the tool table. "Tell me your account number." Eugene Lee gave him an unfamiliar account in Switzerland. He was still a little wary of Charlotte. Charlotte quickly completed the transfer. Then he took the hacker's computer to Eugene Lee and showed him the transfer record. The transfer record showed that 6 million USD had been transferred to the account designated by Eugene Lee. "See, this is my sincerity," Charlotte said. "Now it's time for you to show your sincerity. Tell me, where is the CIB safe house?" "Freedom EDM Bar. That's the CIB safe house in the capital of China. Yangshan and Sibelius should be there," Eugene Lee said. Charlotte smiled. "That's right. He took out the key and opened the bracelet and anklet on Eugene Lee's body, allowing Eugene Lee to regain his freedom. "You really want to let me go?" Eugene Lee couldn't believe it. He looked at Charlotte warily, afraid that Charlotte would suddenly attack him and take his life. "This is also my sincerity. You can leave here now, but I want to know how you'll explain it to Williams when you return to Langley in the United States." Charlotte asked. Eugene Lee said, "You don't have to worry about this. I naturally have my own ways. You steal information from me in the CIB. You have to contact me once a month. That's not a problem. I can do it," Eugene Lee said. "One last question. Has the CIB developed a system with artificial intelligence?" Charlotte looked at Eugene Lee. She was different from others. Others would usually look at the other person's eyes, but he looked at the heart. "No, how is that possible? The most powerful and mature country in the world with artificial intelligence is Japan. But even Japan hasn't developed the artificial intelligence system you're talking about. How can the United States develop it?" Eugene Lee said. Charlotte left his sight and smiled. "Go ahead. Be careful on the road. Give me a call when you arrive in the United States to let me know you're safe." Eugene Lee nodded and left the dungeon. Charlotte's eyes moved to the hacker's computer on the workbench. The screen showed a notification. Simulated transaction successful. Sigh. Charlotte couldn't help but sigh internally. Just now, when Eugene Lee told him that the United States didn't have the artificial intelligence system, his heart suddenly sped up, and the frequency was a bit erratic. He was lying. Eugene Lee walked out of the dungeon. This place was the backyard of Peace House. A large number of plants were planted in the backyard. The dense canopies of the trees blocked the moonlight from the sky and the light from the front yard. It was pitch black all around. Eugene Lee turned to look at the unassuming antique bungalow behind him. His lips curled into a cold smile. He thought to himself, "Money? You think I want money? You're wrong. I don't just want money. I want power more. William's position is mine, and you can't give me that power. So what?" His train of thought suddenly stopped there, because at that moment, a petite woman had already swooped down from the roof. Her body was like an eagle descending from the sky to catch its prey. Her movements were swift and silent. At the moment she landed, the pitchfork in her hand stabbed into Eugene Lee's head. Eugene Lee collapsed to the ground. He was dead. He didn't even feel the slightest pain of death. In fact, if he didn't lie to Charlotte and focus on being Charlotte's double agent, Charlotte wouldn't kill him because he still had value. However, under these circumstances, he dared to lie to Charlotte and hide the secret of the artificial intelligence system in the CIB headquarters. He didn't know that Charlotte had already fought with the artificial intelligence system. His ending wasn't because Charlotte was too cruel, but because he was too greedy. Charlotte could give him a lot of money, but he wasn't satisfied. In addition to money, he also wanted a lot of power. People were like this. They were driven by all kinds of desires, and then they would sink into the web of desires and perish. Akiko Tsukino didn't pull out the pitchfork on Eugene Lee's head. She carried Eugene Lee on her shoulder and entered the room behind her. The pitchfork on Eugene Lee's head acted as a hemostatic. There was almost no blood flowing out of his head. Akiko Tsukino entered the dungeon from the entrance. She saw Charlotte operating his hacking computer. She threw Eugene Lee on the ground and walked to Charlotte's side. "Boss, what should we do with his body? You decide. You're the expert in this area. As long as we don't leave any trouble, it's fine," Charlotte said. Akiko Tsukino said, "Then I know what to do." Xiaolei's gaze remained fixed on the monitor of the hacker's computer. His hacker's computer was currently receiving a top-secret file that Xiao Qian had sent to him. Although it was just a file, its value was enough to drive the CIA crazy. The file was transferred in 1 minute and 59 seconds. 2 minutes later, the CIA headquarters CAMI system discovered Xiao Qian. The CIA's CAMI system began to attack Xiao Qian and track Charlotte's location. But before it received any results, Charlotte hit the enter key and sent out an order. 1 second later, Xiao Qian and the CIA headquarters system self-destructed. Destroying Xiao Qian and erasing all traces was a smart choice. If the CAMI system personally killed Xiao Qian, then Xiaoqin's secrets would be discovered, and it would be difficult to guarantee that the Kami system would be able to track down anything based on those secrets. He had personally destroyed Little Qian, and the Heavenly God system would not be able to find anything. It would not even know what had been stolen from the CIA this time. This was because Little Qian had an ability, and that was to read documents. After reading it, she would write it herself, and there would not even be a trace of copying. Charlotte exited the CIA headquarters system and turned off the hacking computer. It's done. Charlotte couldn't help but laugh. During his time in Israel and the Mediterranean Sea, he was chased by the Americans and was in a sorry state. At that time, his heart was filled with anger. When he came back, he happened to encounter the assassin who tried to kill his woman, which made him even angrier. Now that he had vented his anger, his mood was much better. "Boss, what happened? Why are you so happy?" Akiko Tsukino looked at Charlotte curiously. Charlotte smiled. "Let me tell you this. I just got a list of the CIA's spies in China. There are some important spies who have been undercover for 10 or 20 years. Some of them have become high-ranking officials, businessmen, and even soldiers. With this list, they're operating right under our noses. If we want to catch them, we can do so at any time. We can also use these people to pass false information to the Americans and confuse them. I'm not interested in these things," Akiko Tsukino said as she suddenly reached out to Charlotte's face. Charlotte leaned back slightly, but he still didn't avoid Akiko Tsukino's hand. Akiko Tsukino's hand touched his face, and it felt like a breeze blowing across his face. "Akiko, Charlotte still wanted to explain what happened on the uninhabited island that night. Akiko Tsukino smiled. "There was blood on your face. I've helped you wipe it off. Well, I'm going to deal with the body." It was such a gentle and humble smile that Xia Lei swallowed all the words of explanation he had in his stomach. "Do you want to act tonight?" Akiko Tsukino picked up an axe from the tool table and swung it to test the weight. Charlotte thought for a moment. "We don't want to act tonight. We have to prepare. Let's do it tomorrow night." "Well, let's do it tomorrow night." Akiko Tsukino walked toward Eugene Lee. Charlotte suddenly said, "Forget it. Let's carry him to the back mountain and bury him. He's already dead. There's no need to do this to him." Akiko Tsukino nodded. Charlotte left the dungeon and walked to his room. He saw the 4 women in his room. Long Bing and Liang Xiao were cleaning guns. Jiang Rui and Fan Fan were knitting a sweater for the child. The 2 were civil and the other were military. Chapter 1050. The night was hazy and filled with the scent of spring. It was the smell of rapeseed flowers that came from the fields around White's Tag. Charlotte took out his phone and made a call. "You're still up so late?" Tang Yuyin's voice came from the phone lazily. She seemed to have fallen asleep and was woken up by the phone ringing. However, she didn't mind it at all. On the contrary, she was delighted to receive a call from Charlotte. "I'm about to go to bed, but I have 2 pieces of good news for you. I won't be able to sleep if I don't tell you. I'm sure you'll be interested." "What is it?" "The first piece of good news is that I've found the CIA's safe house." "Huh, you're quite something. Tell me where it is." "Before I tell you, I have a request." "Hurry up and tell me," Tang Yuyin urged. "I want to work with you to capture Yang Shan and Sibelius. We'll make our move tomorrow night. Don't send anyone to keep an eye on that place, just in case we alert them," Charlotte said. "That won't be a problem. I'm almost fully recovered by tomorrow night and can lead the team," said Tang Yuyin. Tang Yuyin said, and then she eagerly asked, "What's the second piece of good news?" Charlotte smiled. "It's an incredible piece of good news. You'd better be prepared." "Come on, tell me already. Don't keep me in suspense." "You know I'm an impatient woman and I can't stand your flirting," said Tang Yuyin. They were talking about serious matters, but that would only make people think otherwise. Charlotte fell silent for a moment. "Yuyin, we dash." Tang Yuyin didn't say anything and just listened quietly. "Forget it. Let's get down to business." Charlotte really didn't want to talk about relationships with her, so he changed the topic and said, "I got a list from the CIA. The people on the list are all spies sent by the United States to our country." "Ah," Tang Yuyin exclaimed and asked excitedly, "Is this list real?" "Of course it's true. How could I joke about such a thing?" Some of the people on the list have been lurking for more than a decade or two. Some of them were already high-ranking officials and soldiers, while others have become big bosses in the business world. These are all people with a certain social status. Do you think I would make fun of them? No, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. Tang Yin apologized. Her apology made Charlotte slightly stunned. In his impression, Tang Yin was a woman who would never apologize. But today, her apology came very easily. This seemed to be a signal that she had changed. Yin, you don't have to be so polite with me. Charlotte once again cut to the chase. This list is very important to us. I'll give it to you, and you can submit it. This will be a great credit. It will help you stabilize your position as the director of 101 innings. It'll probably also bring great benefits to your Tang family. This is also my way of repaying you for saving Bing and the others. Is that what you think? Tang Yin was very excited and happy, but Charlotte's words were like a bucket of cold water poured on her head, extinguishing all the fantasies in her heart. Yin, I know you're good to me, but I can't give you what you want. We are not fated. I don't believe in fate. Tang Yin's voice was full of sadness, pain, and a touch of anger. I can understand and accept that you are with Longbing. I can also understand and accept that you are with Jiang Rui. I can still understand and accept that you are with Liang Xiao. But if you and Fan Fan are together, does that mean you're fated to be together? Do you really love her? You are with her to get rid of me. Do you think I don't know? Why are you still lying to me now? Tell me why. You always say that I want something, but you can't give it to me. Let me ask you, have you ever asked me what I want since we met? Have you ever asked me? She cried. Charlotte was also very sad. He really hadn't asked her. Let me tell you, Charlotte, although I am a woman of the Tang family, I am a woman first. Don't I have the right to pursue my own happiness and love? Don't I? She cried out. Charlotte was most afraid of women crying. He began to regret calling her in such a hurry. He sighed and braced himself to say, Yin, don't cry. Have a good rest. We still have a mission tomorrow night. Let's talk about it tomorrow, okay? Okay, but only you and me. Don't bring your 4 pregnant women. With them, I have no chance to talk to you. They won't participate in tomorrow's mission. I will come here alone. Well, have a good rest. Good night. Charlotte was about to hang up. Tang Yin suddenly plucked up her courage and said, Charlotte, I love you. I can't live without you. Charlotte didn't know what to say. Tang Yin was silent for a long time and then hung up. Charlotte secretly breathed a sigh of relief, but his head was already swollen. He really wanted to repay Tang Yin for saving his 4 pregnant women and children by giving the list to Tang Yin. But Tang Yin obviously didn't want him to return the favor. As soon as he brought it up, Tang Yin burst into tears and confessed her love for him. How to end this matter? He didn't know. At this time, Akiko Tsukino's voice suddenly came from behind. Boss, you can marry 4 women. Why can't you marry a 5th woman? If you go on like this, you'll be torturing her, and you'll be torturing her. Why bother? If you sleep with her, love will grow with time. Charlotte looked at her speechlessly. Did the Japanese ninja understand the meaning of the Chinese idiom, love will grow with time? Akiko Tsukino smiled at Charlotte, and then carried a big sack to the back door. In her hand was a shovel, which was the tool used to bury Eugene Lee. There was a special force patrol team behind Ping and residence, but it was not a problem for the Japanese ninja to avoid them. Charlotte wrinkled his nose at Akiko Tsukino's slender back, and then muttered to himself as he walked to his room. When he was about to reach the door, Charlotte's line of sight suddenly moved to the direction of the door. He saw Lu Sheng walking to the door, as if to open the door for someone. His left eye moved slightly, and the door that was blocking his line of sight silently disappeared from his field of vision. A silver Rolls-Royce Phantom was parked outside the door, and a woman in a black evening dress. She was aloof, arrogant, and beautiful. The person who came was Shinta Tianyin. Why is she here? Charlotte's headache was already painful enough. Seeing Shinta Tianyin, his headache was even more painful. He suddenly remembered that during the day in the hospital, he signed a name for a young nurse, and left Shinda Tianin's phone number on the corner of the young nurse's clothes, asking her to call Shinda Tianin. The purpose of asking the young nurse to make this phone call was actually very simple. That was to tell his ex-wife that he was safe through the young nurse's mouth, to tell her that he was not dead. He told her as soon as possible, so that when they met in the future, it would be awkward. He only had this one purpose. There was no other motive. He didn't make this phone call himself, but let the young nurse do it. In fact, he didn't want the 4 pregnant women to be jealous. His original intention was to maintain the stability and unity of the family. However, he didn't expect that Shinda Tianin would come to his door at night. Lu Xing opened the door. Shinda Tianin said very politely, "Mr. Lu, I came to see my husband. No, my ex-husband." She looked a little embarrassed. Lu Shang said, "Chairman Xia is..." Before Lu Shang finished speaking, Charlotte learned the cuckoo's call in a hurry. Cuckoo, cuckoo. It was so late at night, and there was a cuckoo calling? How idle was this bird? Lu Shang was curious, so he looked back. Charlotte hurriedly hid in the flowers, but he deliberately slowed down, so that Lu Shang could see the process of him hiding. This was a very obvious hint. Lu Shang couldn't turn his head back, so he apologized. "Miss Shintu, you came at a bad time. Chairman Xia has something to do," and went out. Something? What's he going to do tonight? Shinda Tianin looked disappointed. She raised her head and looked towards the door, hoping to see Xia Lei's figure. However, she did not see anything. Lu Sheng said, "I'm sorry, I don't know. Chairman Xia went out at the invitation of a big leader. I don't know much." "When did he go out?" "He went out as soon as it was dark." "When will he come back?" Shinda Tianin still didn't give up. Lu Shang said, "I don't know, but I guess it will be tomorrow. I heard that he is going to take a plane. I advise you not to wait for him. Come back another day." "Well, then I won't bother you. Goodbye, Mr. Lu." Shinta Tianin couldn't hide the disappointment in her heart. "Goodbye, Miss Shintu," Lu Shang said. When Shinta Tianin turned around and left, he closed the door. Charlotte watched Shinta Tianin get into her Rolls-Royce Phantom. Fu Mingmei started the car, turned the car around, and drove in the direction of the capital. Charlotte stood up from the flowering shrubs and gave Lu Sheng a thumbs up. Lu Sheng quickly walked over and said with a smile, "Chairman Xia, even if you didn't hint me, she wouldn't be able to enter the door. Xiao has already informed me that if Shinda Tianin comes, no matter what excuse or reason you find, you can't let her come and see you." Charlotte was speechless. "I'm leaving. Take care." Lu Sheng left behind these words and left. Take care? What did he mean by that? Charlotte shook his head with a wry smile and then went to his room. As soon as he entered the room, a fragrant aroma wafted into his nose. There was Fan's fragrance, Xiao's fragrance, Longbing's fragrance, and Rui's fragrance. Different women had different fragrances, different tastes, and different sexiness and beauty. The gazes of the 4 pregnant women shifted to their men at the same time. Their eyes were full of tenderness and happiness, as well as deep love. As the saying goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and this was their current situation. Charlotte hadn't left them for long, but their longing for him had already reached the extreme. Not only did they miss him mentally, but they also missed him physically. "Is it done?" Longbing asked with a smile. Charlotte nodded. "It's done. Akiko Tsukino is doing it. She's an expert in this area, so there won't be any problems." "That's good. Io, we should go back and rest," Liang Xiao said, and then got up to leave. Liang Xiao got up, and the other 3 women also got up. Long Bing and Fan had a teasing smile on their faces, but Jiang Rui lowered her head, not daring to look Charlotte in the eyes. The 4 women quickly walked to the door. Charlotte said gloomily, "I have a lot to talk to you about. Are you all going to leave? If we don't leave, are we going to sleep with you?" Liang Xiao said. Charlotte secretly imagined the scene of 4 pregnant women lying beside him, and just thinking about it made him very excited. Men were just like that. Jiang Rui reached out to open the door, but Liang Xiao grabbed her hand. Jiang Rui suddenly became nervous. "Yes, you, what do you want?" "He." Liang Xiao smiled mischievously. "The 3 of us have experienced it, but you haven't. We're sisters. We're a family. You can't be special." Jiang Rui didn't dare to imagine it, and she immediately blushed. Charlotte smiled. So they weren't really going to leave. If they were going to leave, they wouldn't be waiting for him in his room. He said with a smile, "I'll give you a massage. Massage can relieve your pregnancy symptoms. I'm very good at it, and I guarantee you'll be satisfied." I don't want to. I still have something to do in the room. Jiang Rui was even more nervous. She knew what Charlotte's massage was referring to. Liang Xiao, Long Bing, and Fan Fan didn't let her go and even drag her to the bed. "Don't you want a massage? Hurry up," Fan Fan urged. Jiang Rui struggled, but her strength and posture seemed pretentious. Charlotte was extremely tempted. He walked over, but suddenly thought of something and said nervously, "Master," Liang Xiao said, "I put some sleeping pills in his milk. He won't come over." Charlotte, lights out. Chapter 10:51. The skies slowly brightened, and the blue color in the sky was so pure that people didn't want to blink. The golden rays of the morning sun shone down from the depths of the blue sky, and the earth seemed to be sprinkled with a layer of golden sand. Everything was golden and dazzling. Only when the sun rose did the world look like heaven. A man with a perfect figure crawled out of the net formed by the women's arms and legs, then got out of bed to put on his clothes. Long Bing and Liang Xiao had actually woken up when he moved their long legs away from his body. However, they were too lazy to move. After taking a glance, they closed their eyes and went back to sleep. The children in their tummies were getting bigger and bigger, and they consumed more and more drinks, including oxygen, so they were very sleepy and wanted to sleep most of the time. Charlotte tidied himself up and returned to the bed. In front of him was a magnificent snow-white scenery of ups and downs. Such a scenery made him unable to suppress his excitement, but it also made his legs weak and his waist sore. He smiled bitterly and reached out to cover them with a quilt. It was like the relationship between a cow and a field. Who had ever seen a field that had been plowed? But there were many cows that died of exhaustion and became skinny. Fan Fan and Jiang Rui slept like piglets. They were not professional soldiers, nor were they secret agents. Their alertness could not be compared to Liang Xiao and Long Bing. Charlotte waved his hand and gently slapped Jiang Rui's big white ball. Jiang Rui twisted her waist and muttered, "Don't look for me. Go look for them." Charlotte was speechless. Liang Xiao opened her eyes again. She blinked at Charlotte and whispered, "Hubby, do you want to look for me?" Charlotte's waist suddenly ached. He did not dare to stay any longer and turned to leave. "Don't think that it's easy to bully a pregnant woman. I'm not afraid of you." Liang Xiao's laughter came from behind. It was as clear as a silver bell, but Charlotte didn't even dare to turn his head. 10 minutes later, Charlotte left Peace Lodge and headed for the Rema Group's headquarters. A large group of reporters waiting outside Peace Lodge followed him. The Special Forces soldiers protecting Charlotte couldn't even stop them. They had guns, but they couldn't use violence against the reporters, let alone shoot at them. Long guns, short guns, electronic flashes, a large number of questions swept towards Charlotte like a tide. "Chairman Xia, aren't you dead? Can you tell me? What's going on?" "Chairman Xia, did you fake your death to avoid being assassinated by the enemy forces?" "Chairman Xia, can you answer a question for me? Is the child in Liang Xiao's belly yours?" There would always be some people who would rub salt in the wound and purposely cause trouble in a crowded place. Charlotte stopped and looked at the reporter who asked the question. "It's mine." "What does it have to do with you?" I'm sorry, Chairman Xia." The reporter suddenly became nervous. What kind of person was Charlotte? He was the person who single-handedly carried the entire country's military industry forward. He was China's national hero. He wasn't a government official, but he was more useful than many high-ranking officials. How could a small reporter dare to offend him and stir up trouble? "You better not write nonsense, or else I'll have a good talk with your boss," Charlotte said with a cold tone. "Chairman Xia, I'm sorry. I definitely won't write nonsense." The reporter hurriedly said, "Can I change the question?" "Of course you can. What question do you have?" Charlotte said, "Chairman Xia, why did you fake your death? The whole country wants to know the reason. Can you tell us?" The reporter asked, Charlotte smiled. I know you're very curious about this question. If I don't say it, you'll still be waiting in front of my house. Many of you have wives and children, right? You're not the only one who's suffering by staying up late at my house. Your wives and children are also suffering. I can't bear to let you continue like this. Otherwise, your wives and children will scold me. Some of the reporters couldn't help but laugh, and some couldn't help but applaud. Charlotte's words were very considerate, and their hearts were a little touched. Be quiet, all of you, Charlotte said. The noisy scene suddenly quieted down. Charlotte's gaze swept across all the faces, including the Special Forces guards standing on the periphery with Gale assault rifles. He quickly completed his investigation. This time, there were no suspicious people mixed in the crowd. Here's the reason. Charlotte said, I received information that someone wanted to assassinate me and stop me from researching new materials and drones. In order to buy time and a safe working environment, I faked my death and disappeared for a period of time. During this period of time, I've completed the research of new materials and drones. What I want to tell you is that on this year's Children's Day, our country's new aerospace materials and drones will be born. That day will also be the day that Rema Group officially enters the world's aerial combat field. I will lead Rema Group to create a red whirlwind in the field of space. Here, I also want to borrow the pen in your hands to tell those who want to assassinate me that none of you can stop the footsteps of Rema Group, let alone the footsteps of the rise of China. Good. Well said. That's great. It's so exciting. Clap, clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap. Well, I've already told you the reason. Go back, all of you go back. Don't wait in front of my house. If I still see you tomorrow morning, I'll let the dogs bite you. Charlotte said with a smile. The reporters laughed. The scene of the interview seemed very relaxed. After sending the large group of reporters away, Charlotte went to the office of the headquarters office building. He made more than a dozen phone calls in succession and notified the senior staff of the headquarters to the multi-purpose conference room. Now that he was back, it was time for Rema Group's long-prepared X-Secret Gold and Drone project to officially start. Qin Kaiwei used to be in charge of notifying the senior staff for a meeting, but Qin Kaiwei was dead. After Qin Saiyue's death, these things should be handled by Liang Xiao. However, at this time, even Xiao was still sleeping in bed. Who else could do it if not him? Pregnant women had the privilege of being lazy, so he was willing to spoil Grand Senior Sister's pregnancy. Soon, all the senior staff of Rema Group's headquarters arrived at the multi-purpose conference room. Only the seat with the Eugene Lee sign was empty. Where's Eugene Lee been all this time? Why haven't I seen him? Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while. Could he have gone back to his hometown? Where's his hometown? I've never heard him mention it. That's impossible. He is the person in charge of the new material laboratory. This is the critical period of building the new material workshop. How could he go back to his hometown at this time? There was a lot of discussion about Eugene Lee. Charlotte raised his hand, and the buzzing multi-purpose conference room suddenly quieted down. He said, Eugene Lee is working in the secret laboratory. Don't make wild guesses. This is a critical period. We have 2 tough battles to fight. Each of us has to do our job well. Don't worry about other things that have nothing to do with work. Chairman Xia, Huang Shuwen, said, Our artificial intelligence department is ready to fight a tough battle. The new material workshop and drone workshop will use our artificial intelligence technology. We have successfully developed our own production line robots. They will greatly increase our production capacity. Good job. Charlotte was happy. In a monitor, Guan Lingshan said, Chairman Xia, according to your original arrangement, we placed the parts orders to the OEM factories all over the country, and then took them back to refine them. At present, Haizhu Base has completed our production task. The refined parts weighing a total of 500 tons have been sent from Haizhu to the headquarters in the capital. A smile appeared on Charlotte's face. Well done. Thank you for your hard work. In another monitor, Zhou Xiaohong said, Chairman Xia, like Haizhu Base, we have also completed our parts refining task. The refined parts weighing a total of 300 tons have also been sent to the headquarters in the capital. You have also worked hard, Charlotte said with a smile. Chairman Xia, a senior executive said, I just went to Hanwoo Weapons Company yesterday. Chairman Yi of Hanwoo Weapons Company said that the parts process for us have been completed 60%. If we want, we can send the 60% first. The bases in Haiju and Shudi have completed their tasks ahead of time, but Hanwoo Weapons Company has only completed 60%. They have the least tasks, really. Someone said. Charlotte said, don't blame Yikun. Hanwoo Weapons Company is a state-owned enterprise. The people there go to work at a fixed time and get off work at a fixed time. Their work efficiency is relatively average. It's not easy to work to this extent. This is our own business. We can't expect others to help us complete it. By the way, how is the infrastructure work going? The senior executive in charge of the infrastructure work followed and said, Chairman Xia, the construction company has completed the main construction work. There are only some auxiliary works left. We could take the parts and assemble them now. When we finish the assembly, the construction company will also be finished. Charlotte said, well, today is the day. Move all the parts in our hands. The two Thunder Dragon intelligent machine tools also need to be started to process the core parts. At this moment, Liang Xiao walked in with a folder in her arms. She also held a cup of hot wolfberry and jujube health tea in her hand. She placed the cup in front of Charlotte and then sat on the chair next to Charlotte as if nothing had happened. When she sat down, she reached out and massaged her sore waist. She looked a little uncomfortable. Charlotte felt sorry for her. Look at you. If it's not convenient, don't come to work. What are you doing here? Go back and rest. How can I do that? It's a critical period to build the new material workshop and the UAV workshop. You can't do it alone. I can help you, Liang Xiao said. I'll help you massage it. Charlotte reached out and massaged Liang Xiao's waist. Is it here? A little to the left. A little lower. Liang Xiao looked very comfortable and enjoyed it. Everyone in the room looked at Charlotte and Liang Xiao's affection. Everyone had a lot of things to say, but no one dared to say a word. Liang Xiao quickly reacted. Her face turned slightly red. Aya, what are you doing? There are so many people watching. We're having a meeting. Charlotte suddenly said, why are you still sitting here? The meeting is over. Go do what you need to do. Everyone in the room felt as if they had been pardoned. They all got up and left. Only Charlotte and Liang Xiao were left in the multi-purpose conference room. It's all your fault. I said I can't use that position. You said I can. Look, I sprained my waist. No way. You've been lying down the whole time. There's no position at all. Really? Why don't I remember? Charlotte suddenly looked at the door. You guys, have you heard enough? Crash. It was chaos at the door. A group of young people who were eavesdropping scattered. Huang Shu-win's shoes fell on the ground at the door. He didn't dare go back to pick them up. Chapter 1052. Army Hospital. Miss Tang, may I ask what your menstrual cycle is? A nurse asked politely in the ward. Tang Yuyin frowned. Why are you asking this? Miss Tang, the doctor asked me to ask this. This is for your own good. We need to know more about your condition and eliminate hidden dangers, the nurse said. Eliminate what hidden dangers? Well, the doctor said that this poisoning may affect your future fertility, so we need to know about your menstrual cycle. In addition, we need to take your eggs for testing. So please cooperate, the nurse said. Tang Yuyin suddenly became nervous. Will it affect my fertility? The nurse said, not necessarily. We just need to take a sample for testing. If there's a problem, we need to treat it as soon as possible to eliminate the hidden dangers. Well, my period just ended the day before yesterday. It's been a total of 5 days, Tang Yuyin said. She was a little embarrassed. The nurse said, that means you're still ovulating. I want to take one of your eggs. The process is a little uncomfortable, so please bear with it. Tang Yuyin nodded. At the same time, a middle-aged man came to Charlotte's office. Charlotte remembered him. His name was Sun One, the person in charge of Operation General. He had appeared after Fossen revealed the secret of the AE capsule on the Bo AO forum. This time, just like last time, he brought a freezer. Mr. Xia, I'm really sorry. Sun Wen looked apologetic. I know my appearance will make you unhappy, but please understand that this is my job. Please cooperate. Well, It won't take up much of your time. Charlotte said, What do you want this time? A few blood samples and... Sunwin glanced at Liang Xiao, who was also in the office. Liang Xiao said coldly, What else? Say it, can't I listen? Sunwin smiled awkwardly. Well, I'll be straightforward. This time, I want to take a sperm sample from Mr. Xia. Charlotte frowned. Liang Xiao asked, Why do you want that kind of sample? I'm sorry. The nature of my work is top secret. I can't reveal the content of my work. Sunwin said. Liang Xiao said bluntly, Do you think you can do whatever you want? Who gave you such great authority? Mr. Xia, look. How could Sunwin dare to quarrel with Charlotte's woman? He looked towards Charlotte for help. Charlotte said, Xiao, forget it. After a pause, he said, Mr. Sun, come with me to the lounge. I'll give you 5 minutes. All right, thank you, Mr. Xia. Sunwin heaved a sigh of relief and followed Charlotte to the lounge. After the two men entered the lounge, Liang Xiao took out her phone and made a call. After the call connected, she covered her mouth and said in a soft voice, Sister Fanfan, there's a person called Sunwin here. He wants to take a sample of our men's semen. Can you investigate this person's background? It was Fanfan's voice. Sunwin, I'll check. By the way, I bought a few abalones. Can we eat abalones tonight? Abalones. Okay. By the way, when you come back, help me buy some facial masks. The two women changed the topic from serious business to trivial matters and started chatting with each other. The door of the lounge opened. Sunwin walked out of the office with his head lowered and then closed the door. Liang Xiao was curious so fast. At this time, Charlotte suddenly poked his head out of the door of the lounge. Xiao, come and help me. Liang Xiao, 4:00 in the afternoon. Eugene Li appeared in the Rema Group's material laboratory. He didn't greet anyone and went straight to his office. The appearance of Eugene Li caused a discussion among the staff in the laboratory. What's going on with Minister Li? Yeah, he's been so strange lately. Stop talking and get to work. The new material workshop is about to be built. We have too many things to do. Minister Li is really something. Now is the time for him to take charge of the overall situation. Why do you go into his office without saying a word and ignore us? Who asked him to be the minister? In Eugene Li's office, Charlotte withdrew his X-ray vision. He wasn't surprised at all that the staff in the material laboratory had such a discussion. He definitely didn't come to the material laboratory at this time to guide the work of these employees as Eugene Li. He came here to prepare for the operation at night. What was certain was that while he was in Israel and the Mediterranean, Yang Shan and Sibelius must have tried to contact Eugene Li. His fake death scam had been exposed. What the CIB desperately wanted to know was whether Eugene Li had been seen through and whether Eugene Li still had the possibility of stealing the new material formula of Rema Group. Under this premise, the CIB's Kyoto Intelligence Station would definitely find a way to contact Eugene Li. While waiting, Charlotte took care of some official business. Rema Group's new material workshop and drone production workshop were about to be built. He had a lot of work to do and wouldn't waste time waiting. An hour later, a white pigeon perched on a tree outside the window. It saw Eugene Li in the office and flew into the office. Judging from the pigeon's reaction, the training it received was not ordinary training. Charlotte took out a note from the pigeon's ankle ring. The note was still filled with numbers. He didn't need to read the French version of Mysterious Island at all and directly read the content on the note. See you at the safe house at 8:00 tonight. Charlotte threw the note into the wastebasket, then washed a note and stuffed it into the pigeon's ankle ring. His note said, I will be at the safe house on time. The pigeon flew out of the window and disappeared into the sky in the blink of an eye. Charlotte got up and left the office. When he walked out of the material laboratory, he made a phone call. Yu Yan, it's me. Charlotte said, I've received their message. They asked me to meet them at the safe house at 8:00 tonight. How did you reply? It was Tang Yuyan's voice. I told them that I will meet them at the safe house at 8:00 tonight, Charlotte said. Don't go. We just need to make sure they are at the safe house. Come over and stay with me. Don't act alone. We'll talk when we meet. I'll be right there. Charlotte hung up the phone. An hour later, a Night 15 arrived at floors 101. Charlotte got out of the car and was greeted by Tang Yuyan, who had been waiting in the parking lot for a long time. I'm ready for action. The field agents have already entered the area. They're just waiting for us to go over and then take action, Tang Yuyan said. Charlotte followed her and said as he walked, "It's best to catch them alive. I can lure them out." Tang Yuyan said, "No, that's too dangerous. We've already controlled the area. They can't escape at all. It takes courage to commit suicide. I don't believe that they will choose that path." Charlotte followed Tang Yuyan into the central control room of Floors 101. In the central control room, a huge display wall displayed the surveillance footage of the area where the Freedom Audio Bar was located. The street where the bar was located was bustling with people coming and going. From the surveillance footage, the area where the Freedom Audio Bar was located was very calm, and there was nothing unusual. However, as long as he observed carefully, Charlotte found a few suspicious people. It was obvious that those people were field agents at Floors 101. There were dozens of fully armed combatants in the central control room. Tang Buchuan was conducting a sand table simulation for them and explaining the tactical arrangements to each combatant. Sherborin was also watching from the side, occasionally interrupting to express his views and opinions. Tang Yuyan led Charlotte over. "Godfather, brother, Charlotte is here." Tang Buchuan nodded to Charlotte in greeting and then continued with the sand table simulation. Sherborin walked over and said straightforwardly, "You're really capable, kid. First, you found the CIA's intelligence station in the capital. Now, you even found their safe house. We, Floors 101, haven't been able to find it after so many years." Charlotte said, "That's not surprising. The CIA also doesn't know that Floors 101 has an intelligence station and safe house in New York or Washington. Spying for information is also a matter of fate, and I have fate with them." "Ha ha ha." Sherborin laughed. "You kid, you actually used fate to explain this kind of thing, but it does make sense. Other than fate, do you have any other explanation?" Charlotte shook his head. "No." Sherborin suddenly frowned. "You're hiding it from me again." Charlotte just smiled and didn't explain. Tang Buchuan quickly completed the sand table simulation. Dozens of fully armed combatants also received his orders and left the central control room. They would board the operation vehicles and wait for the time to set off. "Okay, I'm done here." Tang Buchuan smiled. "Director Tang, please give me instructions." Tang Yuyan rolled her eyes at Tang Buchuan and then said, "You take the combatants and enter the target's area carefully. Charlotte and I will be there soon." "Yes, I'm going." Tang Buchuan left immediately. When he passed by Charlotte, he stopped and whispered in Charlotte's ear, "She's recovering faster when she's with you. Look at her spirit. She doesn't look like a patient at all. I'll leave her to you. Take care of her." Charlotte didn't know what to say. He just smiled. Tang Yuyan said again, "Charlotte, don't drive your Night 15. Take my car. Your car is too eye-catching. It's not good for the operation." Charlotte said, "Well, I'll take your car." "Godfather, you stay here and wait for our good news," said Tang Yuyan. Sherborin said, "Be careful. If they resist, just kill them." "I know." Tang Yuyan turned and left. "Goodbye, boss Sher." Charlotte also left. Sherborin watched Charlotte and Tang Yuyan leave. After a long while, he said, "What a good couple. Why aren't they destined to be together?" A few minutes later, 3 small cars drove out of the headquarters of 101 Floors. The combatants in charge of this operation were sitting in the cars. Then Tang Yuyan drove an ordinary Hongqi car and left the headquarters of 101 Floors. She drove to the target's area. "Are you feeling better?" asked Charlotte. "I'm fine. How's the injury on your hand?" Tang Yuyan glanced at Charlotte's wrist. Charlotte's wrist was not wrapped in gauze at all, but his sleeve covered his wrist. She couldn't see the wound at all. "It's okay. It's already scarred," said Charlotte. Then the two didn't say anything. The atmosphere in the car was very awkward. Chapter 1053. At 7 o'clock in the evening, a sedan with a red flag stopped in a parking space by the street. Across the street was the Freedom EDM bar. Its customers were mainly foreigners in Beijing, and most of them were Americans. Therefore, although it looked like it was in the downtown area, the staff structure was actually not complicated and was easy to control. To set up the safe house in the downtown area of the capital, the head of the Capital Intelligence Station, Yang Shan, was really cunning. Charlotte looked out the window and looked at the entrance of the bar. The bar greeter was also a blonde, blue-eyed Caucasian woman. No weapons were found on them. He used his left eye to look into the interior of the bar. He saw some foreigners drinking, mostly white, but there were also a few black people. Whether it was the bar staff or the customers, they all looked normal. There were no suspicious people, and there were no weapons. However, he was sure that the bar had an underground structure, but he could not see it. Tang Yuyin picked up the communicator and said, "Send someone in to take a look." "Roger." It was Tang Buochuan's voice. Soon, a female agent in casual clothes walked to the entrance of the bar. The female agent was young and had a good figure. Girls like this were the most popular customers of the bar because beautiful girls attracted attention and people. Some bars would even provide free drinks to young and beautiful girls. However, such a young and beautiful girl was stopped by the two greeters at the entrance. Charlotte's left eye locked on to the conversation between the greeter and the female agent. "Sorry, we only accept members. Miss, if you want to go in, please show me your membership card." The Caucasian female greeter was very polite and spoke fluent Chinese. The female agent from 101 Innings said, "So troublesome? Can I do it now?" Of course, it's not a problem to apply for a membership now, but the review will take time. "There's still a review." "Yes, sorry for the trouble," the Caucasian female greeter said. "What place is this?" "I'm done. It's not like you're the only one." The female agent pretended to be angry and turned to leave. In the car, Tang Yuyin frowned. There's really something wrong with this place. Very few bars have a membership system, but this place has one. I definitely want to control the staff structure and make it easier to control. Her analysis was the same as Charlotte's after seeing through the interior of the bar. Charlotte said, "This place seems to be in the downtown area with a lot of people and complicated personnel, but the other party's control is very strong. The bustling flow of people and the complicated situation of the people became the perfect cover for the other party. I'm guessing that Yang Shan and Sibelius are hiding in the basement. There must be surveillance cameras in the bar. Once our people enter, they will definitely find out." "I didn't expect it to be so difficult," Tang Yuyin said. "The bar has a membership system. Our agents can't get in at all unless they force their way in, but that will alert the enemy. That Yang Shan is so cunning. How could the safe house he built not have a secret passage? If our people are discovered by him, he will definitely run away. There's an even thornier problem. This is the downtown area, and there are many civilians. If there's an intense gunfight, there will definitely be a lot of casualties. If there really was an intense gunfight and there were heavy casualties, then the people who participated in this operation would not only have no merit, but would also be punished." Charlotte thought for a moment. "I'll go in." "How can you do that? That's too dangerous. I won't allow you to go." Tang Yuyin's eyes were full of worry, but her words also sounded like a girlfriend or wife. Charlotte smiled and looked very relaxed. "It's just Yang Shan and Sibelius. They won't be able to hurt me, right? Don't worry, I'll be fine. I'm not trying to show off. I just don't want innocent people to be hurt because of this operation. You don't want to turn a good thing into a bad thing, right? This is the capital, and the impact is very big." Tang Yuyin said, "But," Charlotte interrupted her, "don't try to persuade me anymore. It's decided. Later, I'll disguise myself as Eugene Lee and go in. After 10 minutes, you rush in with your men." "Wait." Tang Yuyin suddenly looked at Charlotte. "The name Eugene Lee sounds familiar. What's his relationship with the CIA?" "He's a CIA killer, the one who tried to assassinate me. He infiltrated the Rema Group for two purposes. The first purpose was to steal the formula and production technology of the Rema Group's new material. The second purpose was to kill me," Charlotte said. Eugene Lee was dead, and there was no need for him to keep this secret. Because it was useless to keep this secret. 101 Innings would find out sooner or later. At that time, it would be hard for him to explain, and he would be in a more passive position. At this time, it was the best choice to say it on this occasion. Tang Yuyin was silent for a moment before she said, "The last time I came to the Rema group to investigate the spy incident, you stopped me from investigating. It turns out that you already knew who the spy was. Why didn't you tell me?" Charlotte nodded. "Yes, I already knew. I did it for a reason." "Is he still in your hands?" Tang Yuyin asked. Charlotte said, "How do you think I got the list of CIA spies in China? Also, how did I know about the CIA's secret bomb and safe house in the capital?" "You made a deal with him?" "Yes. I gave him his freedom, and he gave me what I wanted. I didn't want to make a deal with him at first, but the value of that list was definitely worth 10 of his lives. This is a deal that is beneficial to the country. Why wouldn't I do it?" Charlotte looked at Tang Yuyin with a calm expression, and his eyes were full of sincerity and honesty. Tang Yuyin also stared at Charlotte, and after a few seconds, she said, "In terms of the gains from the deal, it is definitely worth it. But what you did is against the rules. You can't do things by following the rules. Well, I will cover it up for you this time, but not next time. If something similar happens again, you have to tell me the truth or let me deal with it," Tang Yuyin said. "Okay, next time I will do as you say." Charlotte took his toolbox from the back seat of the sofa, opened it, and took out the human skin mask. 5 minutes later, Charlotte finished his makeup and left the Hongqi sedan. It was not the first time he put on makeup to look like Eugene Lee, and he was already familiar with it. "Be careful," Tang Yuyin warned him through the window. Charlotte nodded slightly and walked straight to the entrance of the bar. As he walked, he secretly pondered, "I don't have any membership card on me. If those two greeters stop me, what should I do? Walk straight in? Hopefully, this isn't the first time Eugene Lee has come to this place, and the people here know him." The two greeters saw Charlotte, and they bowed together and said politely, "Welcome." Xiaolei walked past two white female ushers and entered the Freedom Audio Bar. In the situation that he had just guessed, the last one was obviously consistent. Just as Charlotte entered the bar, Tang Yuyin picked up the communicator and issued an order. "All combat personnel, prepare for battle. Now start the match. 7:45, 7:55, rush in. If there are any armed resistance, shoot immediately." "Roger." A series of replies came from the communicator. In the free electric bar, Xiaolei came to the bar counter and ordered a glass of whiskey. Then, he sat at the bar and waited. The bartender placed the whiskey in front of him, but he didn't drink it. He wouldn't casually drink anything from this place. 2 minutes later, a familiar figure walked out from the back corridor of the bar and went straight to Charlotte's side. It was Sibelius. He moved closer to Charlotte and whispered, "You weren't followed, were you?" This question could actually be seen as a combination of two questions, and there was another hidden question. Was your identity exposed? Charlotte shifted his gaze to Sibelius. "There won't be more than 20 people in this world who can follow me. Do you think there's one here?" Sibelius spread his hands. "Don't misunderstand. I just want to confirm the situation. This place is already our last stronghold. If we lose it again, it will be difficult for us to rebuild our intelligence station in the capital." "That's none of my business," Charlotte said. "Why did you ask me to meet here?" "Of course it's something very important," Sibelius said. "Mr. Williams wants to confirm the situation on your side. You know what the situation is." Charlotte snorted coldly. "Of course I know what he wants to confirm. If my identity was exposed, I'm afraid I'd be in the special prison of China's intelligence department. Would I still be able to come here? All right, I don't want to say more. Take me to Xiangshan. Follow me." Sibelius left the bar and led Charlotte into the corridor leading to the back of the bar. On both sides of the corridor were rooms. There were storerooms and storerooms, but they were not storerooms for storing alcohol. Charlotte's left eye quickly completed its X-ray vision of the rooms on both sides of the corridor. He thought to himself, there's most likely a wine cellar underground. Yangshan should be there. He must have used this place as a temporary intelligence station. Sibelius entered a storage room at the end of the corridor. He walked to the corner and used his hand to turn a dirty ashtray on a shelf. Ka! With a soft sound, the entire storage room suddenly sank. This storage room was actually an elevator. A few seconds later, The elevator that was disguised as a storage room stopped. Sibelius opened the door and walked out. Charlotte followed him, and what entered his sight was an underground space of about 50 square meters. However, it was not a wine cellar as he had imagined. It was purely a multi-purpose space. It had an office area, a training area, a storage area for weapons and spy equipment, and even a training ground. It was just that it was very small. There was an office table under one wall, and Yangshan was sitting on the chair behind the table. When Charlotte walked out of the elevator, his gaze locked onto Charlotte. His eyes were burning with a hint of suspicion. On the wall beside Yangshan was a surveillance monitor. It showed the situation inside and around the Freedom Audio Bar, as well as the health images of the entire street. This area was indeed under the control of the CIB's Capital Intelligence Station. Other than Yangshan, there were 6 CIB agents in the basement. 1 was Caucasian, and 5 were Asian. Based on their facial features and body shapes, they were all Chinese. Charlotte's gaze fell on one of the Chinese. That face gave him a familiar feeling. That guy was the one who was monitoring Eugene Lee. An intelligence station usually had 10 to 15 personnel, including Yangshan and Sibelius. There were only 8 of them. It was not even the minimum number of personnel. Charlotte thought to himself, I've observed that the people in the bar are all normal. They're not agents. Where would the rest of them be hiding? Why would they hide? As soon as he thought of this, a trace of vigilance arose in his heart, and his vigilance suddenly rose to the extreme. Chapter 10:54. No one spoke in the basement. It was very quiet, and everyone was observing each other. Charlotte's eyes quickly scanned the walls on the left, right, and front. His left eye's vision was like an X-ray, instantly penetrating the wall. Behind the front wall was still concrete, and he couldn't see through it. Charlotte's eyes moved to the wall on the right. Behind the wall on the right was also concrete, and there was no space to hide. Charlotte's eyes moved to the wall on the left, and with his X-ray vision, he discovered the space hidden behind the wall. It was a passage about 5 meters wide, and it extended forward without an end in sight. 4 fully armed combat agents stood in the passage. 2 were white, and the other 2 were black. They were tall and burly, and all of them were wearing American-style equipment. The safety of their M41A assault rifles was off, and they were ready to fire at any time. There was a wall in front of them, but it was just a wall in disguise. It was made of aluminum alloy, granular board, and spray paint. They could even see what was going on in the basement through the surveillance monitors installed on the wall. It was obvious that the passage behind the left wall was the safe house's secret passage for emergency evacuation. After discovering the situation in the secret passage, Charlotte retracted his gaze and looked a little angry. Mr. Yang, what is the meaning of this? Yangshan put on a fake smile and said, Mr. Lee, you're asking me what I mean, but I don't quite understand. What are you referring to? Charlotte said, You asked me to meet you here. Not only did you arrange for 6 field agents to be here, but you also arranged for assassins to be in the emergency exit passage. That's what I'm referring to. What do you mean? Yangshan and Sibelius were stunned for a moment, and they both looked very surprised. They didn't expect Eugene Lee to make such a judgment, even though they were separated by a wall. Yangshan quickly returned to normal and laughed. Mr. Lee, don't misunderstand. This isn't an arrangement for you. You know that Charlotte isn't dead. Our intelligence station in Kyoto might have been exposed, so I temporarily closed it and retreated here. But who can guarantee that this place is safe? So, we have to be ready to fight and retreat at any time. Mr. Lee, does this make you nervous? Charlotte said indifferently. Why should I be nervous? I just think you guys are making a mountain out of a molehill. It's better to be careful, Yangshan said. Mr. Lee, we asked you to meet here to ask you a few questions. These questions are very important. We also have Mr. Williams' authorization, so please cooperate with us. Charlotte looked calm. No problem. You can start whenever you want. Then let's do it now. Mr. Lee, please take a seat. Yangshan invited Charlotte to take a seat. Then, he said to a field agent, Go make a cup of tea for Mr. Lee. He likes China tea. The field agent nodded, and walked to the water dispenser in the corner. There was also a cupboard in the corner with tea and cups, as well as a coffee machine. Charlotte looked at the agent who was making tea for him from the corner of his eye. However, the agent's back was facing him, so he couldn't see what his hands were doing. Just as he was about to use his left eye's X-ray vision to look at the agent, Yang Shan suddenly said, "Mr. Li, let's start." Charlotte was too lazy to look at the agent's hand movements. Anyway, he wouldn't even touch the cup of tea that the agent brought him. He said, "Of course, what do you want to know?" Yang Shan said, "You said you killed Charlotte, but why is he still alive?" Charlotte said, "I don't know. I'm afraid I have to ask my Hattori. She was the one who gave me the poison. She said that the poison can be transmitted through the air. People who are poisoned will die in 3 minutes at the earliest and in 5 minutes at the latest. As long as they are poisoned for more than 3 minutes, even the antidote can't save them. I put the poison she gave me in Charlotte's office, then found an excuse to leave. Later, they announced that Charlotte was dead. They took his body away, lowered the flag at half-mast, and the whole country mourned for him. Isn't this enough to prove that he's dead? Now you're asking me why he's still alive. Who the F***CK should I ask? I also want to know what's going on." "You don't know?" Yang Shan looked at Charlotte suspiciously. He clearly didn't believe such a statement. Charlotte said, "Should I know?" The field agent who made the tea handed a cup of cheap Bilyukan tea to Charlotte and said, "Mr. Li, please have some tea." Charlotte didn't even stretch out his hand. He just said indifferently, "Put on the table." The field agent who made the tea was snubbed and retreated unhappily. "Mr. Li, you don't have to be so cautious. We just want to confirm a few questions," said Yang Shan. A faint sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Charlotte said, "It's better to be cautious. The only reason I've survived until now is because of my cautiousness." "Sometimes it's useless to be cautious," Sibelius interrupted. Charlotte smiled faintly. "Sometimes it's useless to be cautious, but it also depends on who it is. For example, people like Wolverine or Hulk." Sibelius laughed. "Hee hee. I didn't expect Mr. Li to be such a humorous person. I'm rarely amused by other people's jokes, but I'm amused by yours." Such a conversation seemed boring and unnecessary, but everyone knew that the two sides had already begun to wrestle. The air in the basement seemed to have an additional smell of gunpowder, and it was slowly growing. "I rarely tell jokes, but I like to tell them before I kill someone," added Charlotte. Sibelius's face suddenly turned gloomy. "Eugene Lee, what do you mean?" Charlotte said, "I just want to remind you not to make mistakes. Some mistakes can only be made once, because if you make them, you'll die. There's no second chance." Sibelius suddenly reached his hand to his waist. Yang Shan waved his hand, and Sibelius put his hand down again. He looked at Charlotte with hatred, as if he wanted to tear Charlotte into pieces. "Mr. Li, let's get down to business." Yang Shan said, "The second question is, you put poison in Charlotte's office to assassinate him. He didn't die. With his intelligence and ability, didn't he suspect you?" Charlotte said, "No. Why are you so sure? If he suspected me, he would definitely catch me or even kill me. Why did he keep me in Rema Group?" said Charlotte. Yang Shan and Sibelius looked at each other. Charlotte continued, "Also, he went to Israel. I suspect that he deliberately took the opportunity of me assassinating him to pretend to be dead in Israel. Although I don't know why he went to Israel, we were all deceived by him. Later, he came back, and the Hattori family assassinated him again, using the same poison. The assassin was shot dead by Tang Yuyan, but she was almost poisoned to death. Although the assassin died, he helped me clear my name. So, I'm sure that I haven't been discovered. My identity is still safe for the time being." Yang Shan said, "The third question is, do you still have a chance to steal the formula and production technology of Rema Group's new material?" Charlotte said, "Of course. I'm still the head of the new material department, so I have the opportunity to get in touch with the formula and production technology of the new material. So, of course, there's no problem." As he spoke, Charlotte glanced at the ordinary watch on his hand. It was now 7:52, and there were still 3 minutes before the attack time he had set. A smile appeared on Yang Shan's face. He suddenly turned the computer monitor on the table and turned on the power switch. Soon, a video call interface appeared on the computer monitor. In the video call, Williams was staring at the monitor and looking at Charlotte, who was sitting opposite Yangshan. The video call interface was obviously not turned on just now. It had always been on, but the power of the monitor had been turned off. However, the external camera of the monitor was turned on, and there was no indicator light. Just now, Williams had been watching Charlotte and Yangshan's conversation and observing Charlotte. Charlotte suddenly thought of the CIB's CAMI system, which was an advanced artificial intelligence system. During the conversation between him and Yangshan, how could Williams be idle? The CIB headquarters CAMI system had probably already analyzed his image. Charlotte completely believed that the CAMI system had a stronger analysis and recognition ability than the facial recognition system. His identity had actually been exposed. He didn't find that the external camera on the monitor was in working mode, and he didn't find that the desktop under the desk was in working mode. This was a mistake. But this kind of mistake, even if Charlotte had to do it again, he would probably make the same mistake because his X-ray vision ability couldn't see what program was running on the computer. Just as he thought of this, Charlotte was ready to fight, but his face was very calm. He even took the initiative to greet Williams. "Mr. Williams, hello. I didn't expect you to be waiting for me. You can actually ask me for a report directly." Williams said slowly, "Report? I don't need a report that explains the situation. But who are you going to sign on that report? Eugene Lee or Charlotte?" "Mr. Williams, what do you mean?" Xiaolei glanced at the watch on his wrist from the corner of his eye. There was still 1 minute and 50 seconds left before the operation. Williams sneered. "In Israel, you became a Native American. If we didn't have a system to recognize people's true faces, you really would have deceived us. I'm afraid Eugene Lee would have been killed by you, right? You disguised yourself as Eugene Lee to deceive us. You succeeded, but I didn't expect you to be so bold. You actually dared to enter our safe house alone. I can't imagine an opponent like you. I only have one question. What are you trying to do?" Charlotte said, "I want to kill them." "Ha ha ha." Williams laughed out loud, but then he suddenly roared, "Kill him." Charlotte suddenly stood up, grabbed the bottom edge of the desk with both hands, and jerked it up. The desk left the ground and crashed into Yangshan and the 6 field agents behind him. The wide desk blocked the attack route of at least 3 of the 6 field agents. Sibelius quickly retreated and reached for his gun at the same time. Charlotte's movements were even faster. Not only did he pull out a Viper pistol, but he also pulled out a small glass container. As soon as the glass container appeared, it flew out of his hand and hit the wall on the left. After throwing the glass container, Charlotte suddenly lunged to the side. His body was still gliding in the air when the Viper pistol in his hand spat out a bullet. "Pa!" An LED ceiling lamp on the basement's ceiling shattered and went out. The basement was plunged into darkness. "Gotcha!" This time, the desk fell to the ground. Bang, 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 gunshots rang out. Chapter 1055. The ceiling lights went out, and the basement was suddenly plunged into darkness. Without a trace of natural light, the darkness in the basement was absolute. He couldn't even see his fingers in front of him. Xiaolei's body fell to the ground. At that moment, he used both his hands to push himself off the ground, and his body immediately rolled to the side. Ding, ding, ding. A few bullets hit the ground, where he had just stopped for a moment, and a few sparks flew on the concrete floor. Charlotte's feet kicked the ground again, and his back slid a few meters forward, stopping next to a pillar. He exerted force from his waist and legs at the same time, and silently rolled behind the pillar. Bang, bang, bang. A few field agents fired again. The sparks from the muzzle brought a glimmer of light, and it allowed people to barely see their surroundings. However, the light brought by the gunfire disappeared in the blink of an eye, and they needed to keep firing to maintain it. The CIB field agents in the basement all carried pistols. A normal magazine only had a few bullets, and the most they had were around 10 bullets. With the firing rate of modern pistols, it would only take a few seconds to finish firing. But the problem was, Who would empty their magazine in an environment like this? The first wave of shooting only lasted for 2 seconds before it stopped. The light from the gunfire disappeared, and the basement was plunged into absolute darkness again. No one knew where Charlotte was hiding. It was as if he disappeared into thin air. Just then, the tunnel behind the wall suddenly opened, and 4 fully armed CIB agents rushed out from behind the wall. Their assault rifles were equipped with tactical flashlights. Once they came out, the darkness in the basement was instantly dispersed. "Kill him! Kill him for me!" Yangshan roared, and a pistol also appeared in his hand. Unlike the agents beside him, his gun was a revolver. The body was long, and the caliber was large. It was obvious that it was a powerful revolver. In this world, only people who knew guns and loved to play with guns would choose a revolver. 4 fully armed combat agents pointed the assault rifles in their hands in different directions, and 4 bright tactical flashlights immediately lit up all the places where people could hide. A shadow was cast on the side of a cement pillar. In addition to the shadow of the pillar itself, there was also, "He is hiding behind a pillar." Sibelius suddenly pointed at the pillar and shouted, "Fire!" Bang, bang, bang. Bullets shot out from the muzzle one after another. The hot bullets hit the concrete pillar, causing sparks to fly and pieces of concrete to fly in all directions. "Ha ha ha." Yangshan couldn't help but laugh. "Charlotte, let's see where you can run this time. Run away. Run." Judging from the current situation, Charlotte had no way to escape. Hiding behind the concrete pillar, he would become the target of more than a dozen guns the moment he showed himself. It would definitely be a hail of bullets. "Surround him." Sibelius began to give orders to the field agents. However, at that moment, the 4 fully armed combat agents fell to the ground without any warning. The assault rifles in their hands fell to the ground. The tactical flashlights attached to the assault rifles is shown on the ground, and the light in the basement instantly dimmed by at least 2/3. "What's going on?" There was a hint of fear in Sibri's voice. "Get up, bastard. Get up." The 4 fully armed combat agents did not react at all. If there was any reaction, it would only be a spasm before death. Charlotte's voice suddenly came from behind the concrete pillar. "I forgot to tell you. That bottle contains the poison that my Hattori gave me. It can spread through the air. You should have inhaled quite a bit, right? If you hold your breath now, I don't know if it's too late." Just as he finished speaking, a field agent holding a pistol suddenly grabbed his throat. He seemed to be trying to squeeze something out of his neck, but it was only his wishful thinking. A second later, he fell stiffly to the ground. A field agent held his breath and ran toward the secret passage. His position was far away from the place where Charlotte broke the bottle. Compared to the people who were closer, he still maintained a considerable amount of health and vitality. Therefore, his speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he rushed to the entrance of the secret passage. But the moment he was about to enter the escape route, a hand suddenly reached out from behind the concrete pillar. The hand was holding a black Viper pistol. Bang! A gunshot. The field agent who escaped fell to the ground. There was a ping-pong ball-sized hole in the back of his head. A headshot. Charlotte then retracted his hand. He didn't shoot just now because he would become the target of all the CIB agents if he did. But it didn't matter now. After the 4 combat agents were poisoned, he had one less threat. He could shoot anyone he wanted. Bada. Another field agent fell to the ground, twitched, and died. Sibelius and Yangshan hid in another corner. It was the corner furthest from the entrance of the secret passage. There was also a concrete pillar in that corner that could block Charlotte's bullets for them. In addition, there was also a fan that could blow away the toxins in the air. The remaining 4 field agents saw their station chief, and Sibelius hiding, and ran to the corner. Bang! Bang! 2 more gunshots. Charlotte, who hid behind the concrete pillar, didn't need to stick out his body to observe and aim. He just stuck his hand out from behind the pillar and fired 2 shots. The 2 field agents who ran at the back fell to the ground. The 2 field agents who fell to the ground also had 2 ping-pong ball-sized bloody holes in the back of their heads. They died in the same place and in the same way. Charlotte's method of killing was like a form of art. It was so beautiful that it made people tremble in fear, and their hair stood on end. Charlotte looked at the watch on his wrist. 1 minute and 30 seconds had passed since Tang Yuyan took action. Based on the speed of 101 innings agents, Tang Yuyan might have already taken control of the entire bar and occupied the back area. Maybe he was looking for a way to enter the basement. But Charlotte wasn't very worried that Tang Yuyan and the 101 innings agents would rush into the basement at this time, because it was almost impossible for Tang Yuyan to find out that the dirty ashtray on the shelf in the storeroom was a switch that controlled the elevator's rise and fall. This was exactly what he wanted, because if Tang Yuyan rushed in with the 101 innings agents, the first thing they would face was not the CIB's enemy, but the deadly gas. The last two surviving field agents finally ran to a relatively safe corner. However, before they could hide behind the pillar, their bodies suddenly lost all their strength. At that moment, it was as if someone had removed their bones and cut their tendons. No matter how hard they tried, they could not run anymore. The two field agents twitched a few times and then completely quieted down. Now, only Yangshan and Sibelius were left in the CIB's Capital Intelligence Station. Charlotte's left eye's vision penetrated the edge of the cement pillar and locked onto the opposite corner. The Viper pistol in his hand was always in a shooting position. As long as Sibelius and Yangshan exposed a certain part of their bodies, it would shoot at that part. "Mr. Yang, let's talk," Charlotte said. "How many years have you worked for the CIB? Go to hell." Yangshan suddenly stuck out his upper body and right arm from behind the cement pillar. The revolver in his hand instantly shot out 3 bullets. The 3 bullets flew toward Charlotte in a triangular formation. The 3 points of attack happened to be centered around Charlotte's voice. Whether it was his marksmanship or his prediction of the target's position, Yangshan demonstrated a high level of skill. To be able to become the head of the intelligence station in China's capital, just this identity alone was an indication of his strength. Ding, ding, ding. The 3 revolver bullets hit the cement pillar in front of Charlotte. The corresponding points of impact were his left eye, right eye, and mouth. If there wasn't a cement pillar in front of Charlotte, he would have been shot 3 times in the head. No matter which shot it would have taken his life. But Charlotte didn't even blink and didn't dodge. At the same moment after Yangshan fired 3 shots, Charlotte's right index finger pulled in front of him. Bang! The Viper pistol spat out a bullet. The moment the hot bullet flew out of the muzzle, it pierced into Yangshan's right wrist. Blood splattered, and the revolver fell to the ground. A dash! Yangshan couldn't help but scream and hurriedly retracted his shot right hand. Competing with Charlotte in marksmanship was equivalent to comparing the speed of a leopard and the jumping ability of a frog. They were not on the same level at all. "You two, why don't we make a deal?" Charlotte stood out from behind the cement pillar. Yangshan had lost his gun and combat power. His opponent was only Sibelius, who was no longer a threat to him. "Deal? What deal do you want?" Sibelius's voice trembled slightly, completely unable to conceal the fear in his heart. Charlotte slowly moved to the corner. His right hand was always parallel to his chest, maintaining the shooting posture, and said, "My deal is very simple. Tell me where my Hattori is now and her contact information with you. Also, I want to know if the FA organization participated in the assassination of my woman. Are they also in the capital? And their contact information. Give me what I want, and I will give you a way to live." "Shut up. Do you think we are fools?" Sibelius roared. "Even if you get what you want, you will still kill us." Charlotte smiled. "Are you giving up so soon? If you don't try, how can you be so sure that I won't let you go? To me, you're just employees of the U.S. government. There's no deep hatred between us." "Shut up. F***CKU. Sibelius cursed. Charlotte suddenly raised his hand and pulled the trigger. Bang! After a gunshot, the fan in the corner suddenly stopped spinning. Charlotte said, "Oh no, the fan didn't work. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It was definitely an accident. You should leave there quickly. The poison will soon spread to you. You have seen the consequences of inhaling that poison. F***CK. F***CK. Sibelius suddenly rushed out from behind the pillar and shot at Charlotte. Chapter 10:56. Bang! A gunshot rang out. But it wasn't Charlotte who was bleeding, but Sibelius. The bullet from the Viper pistol hit his right wrist, and the pistol in his hand fell to the ground. Sibelius bent down to pick up the gun. Even though he knew it was almost impossible, he still had to do it, because he had no other choice. It was his survival instinct. Bang! Ah! Sibelius screamed and fell to the ground, holding his right knee. But the next second, his left hand reached for the pistol that fell to the ground. Bang! A bullet hit Sibelius's left wrist. His left hand had already grabbed the handle of the pistol, but his tendons and wrist bones were broken. He couldn't control his hand to pick up the pistol, let alone shoot. Charlotte said lightly, "If you can pick up the gun with your left foot, I promise you I will stand still and let you shoot me." Fu asterisk Ka. Sibelius was on the verge of a mental breakdown. He really reached his left foot for the gun. Bang! A bullet pierced into Sibelius's left knee. Sibelius screamed and fainted. Even if he didn't die this time, he would definitely become a super disabled person. Sibelius was right. Whether he told Charlotte about the information about my Hattori and the FA organization, Charlotte wouldn't let him go. Not for anything else, but because the CIB's Jing City Intelligence Station planned to assassinate his woman. For this reason, Charlotte could kill them 10 times over. Charlotte continued to move to the cement pillar in the corner, but when he was 10 steps away from the cement pillar, he suddenly felt a tingling pain in his heart. He suddenly felt a stabbing pain in his heart. At that moment, his heart seemed to stop beating, and his mind went blank. This process lasted for about 1 second. After 1 second, the mysterious energy hidden in his body awakened and entered his blood, cells, and bone marrow. Phew! Charlotte let out a long breath, and the feeling of death disappeared. This was the second time he had experienced the feeling of death. The feeling was so real that it terrified him. However, after experiencing it twice in a row, he also realized the power of his mysterious energy and his super immunity. A question emerged in his mind. Even such a powerful poison couldn't kill him. His body disintegrated in a second. What poison in this world could kill him? What was certain was that his organs, his brain, and every other aspect of his body were constantly strengthening, and the ratio of his evolution was also constantly increasing. "Don't shoot." Yangshan's voice came from behind a concrete pillar. "Come out, I won't shoot," Charlotte said, but he pointed the muzzle of the Viper pistol in the direction of the concrete pillar. No matter which side Yangshan came out from, he would be able to shoot him. 2 seconds later, Yangshan walked out from behind the concrete pillar. He used his left hand to cover his injured right wrist. Blood flowed out from between his fingers, dripping drop by drop onto the ground. Yangshan vigilantly stared at Charlotte. His eyes were filled with fear as he probed. Is the deal you mentioned still valid?" "Of course it's valid. I am a very sincere person, even to my enemies," Charlotte said. "Throw the gun on the ground, and we'll talk," Yangshan said. Charlotte casually threw the Viper pistol on the ground, and then kicked it more than 10 meters away. He didn't have a gun in his hand, but he didn't care at all. Not to mention the fact that Yangshan was injured and had lost an arm. Even if Yangshan was completely healthy, he could easily kill Yangshan. "Is this good?" Charlotte said calmly. "I've satisfied your request. Now give me what I want. My Hattori is at the Japanese embassy, but that was the day before yesterday. I don't know if she's there now," Yangshan said. "How do you contact her? You know her style? She won't leave any contact information. She's always been the one looking for me," Yangshan said. "My Hattori was a very cunning woman. She wouldn't stay in any hotel, and she wouldn't leave any contact information." Charlotte understood my Hattori style very well, but he didn't believe Yangshan's words. The reason was very simple. This mission was led by the UA. How could there be no contact information between the members? She provided the poison, and the FA organization provided the assassins. This has nothing to do with me," Yangshan said. Charlotte knew that he was lying, but he didn't expose him. He asked casually, Where are the people from the FA organization? Yin FO from the FA organization is... Before he finished his sentence, Yang Shan pressed his chest and then slowly fell to the ground. Charlotte just looked at him, indifferent. Yang Shan fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and then stopped moving. Charlotte's blood had super antibodies, and he could have saved Yang Shan, but he didn't do that. What was the point of saving a man who was still lying to him at such a critical moment? On the ground, in the free electric bar. Bang! Tang Yuyin fired a shot at the ceiling, and then shouted at a waiter, "Speak. Where's the basement?" "I don't know. I really don't know." The bar waiter was scared to tears. Tang Yuyin hit the bar waiter's head with the handle of the gun. "Ah!" the bar waiter screamed. It didn't feel like he was beaten, but stabbed. His tears, snot, and urine flowed out of his body. How could he be a CIB agent with such courage? The bar waiter was scared to tears, but Tang Yuyin was angry to tears. Charlotte entered the enemy's nest alone, and there was no news of him until now. Where was he? Was he injured? Was he in danger? These worries tormented her all the time. "What are you still standing here for?" Tang Yuyin cried and shouted. "Blow up all the walls here. Even if I have to tear this place down, I will find him." A large group of agents braced themselves and went to install explosive devices on the walls. But at this moment, there was movement in the storeroom that had been searched several times. A large group of armed agents rushed to the storeroom. Tang Yuyin was the first to rush to the door of the storeroom. The door of the storeroom suddenly opened, and a familiar figure and a familiar face appeared in front of her. Tang Yuyin was stunned for a moment, and then threw herself into Charlotte's arms without a care. There were so many people staring at them, but she didn't care at all. Although she and Charlotte had only been separated for more than 10 minutes, to her, it felt as long as a lifetime. All the agents stopped moving. Some were expressionless. Some were trying to hold back their laughter, and some were already laughing. Who was Charlotte? Everyone here knew him. The ace consultant of 101 innings. A powerhouse with godlike combat power. Charlotte came out alone. What did that mean? These agents were well aware of that, so they had already relaxed in advance and were just waiting to go in and collect the corpse. Of course, that would require their director Tang to leave Charlotte's arms and make way. Tang Yuyin obviously didn't want to leave. She hugged Xia Lei's waist tightly with her hands. Her plump and firm, soft breasts pressed against Xia Lei's chest, causing the mountaintop to collapse and the shape to become flat. But she didn't care at all. She was willing to give everything to Charlotte. What was this little bit of tofu? Charlotte was very embarrassed. He was a married man, and he had 4 wives and 4 children. Now, Tang Yuyin was hugging him without a care in the world and in front of so many people. As a married man, how could he feel at ease? "It's okay. It's all settled," Charlotte said. "Those guys are all dead." Charlotte said this obviously to let Tang Yuyin leave his arms, but Tang Yuyin didn't seem to hear what he said. Not only did she not let go of him, but she hugged him even tighter. He could feel the softness of her chest and the softness of her lower abdomen. These subtle sensations gave him some trouble. As time went on, a part of his body gradually had a reaction of raising its head. There was no way for a normal man to avoid such a thing, because this was the natural nature of the species that nature gave men. Unless they were sick or born with a defect, how could they not have a reaction when facing a beauty of Tang Yuyin's level, with their ears rubbing together and their bodies touching? Charlotte quietly took a breath and used the ability to control the nerves that he had figured out himself. Only then did the restless part calm down. He lowered his head and admitted his mistake. "Do you know how worried I was about you just now?" Tang Yuyin said with tears in her eyes. "If something happened to you, how could I live?" A large group of agents laughed. They really couldn't imagine that the usually dignified and strict Director Tang would make such a confession to a man. In their eyes, Tang Yuyin was definitely a tiger-level woman, but in Charlotte's arms, she was so gentle and lovely, turning from a tiger into a cat or rabbit. "Yuyin, we don't be like this. Your people are laughing at us," Charlotte said. Only then did Tang Yuyin let go of Charlotte, and then she said fiercely, What are you looking at? What are you laughing at? You'll be in trouble when we get back. The large group of agents suddenly couldn't laugh. Charlotte said, the CIB people are in the basement, but they are all dead. This storeroom is actually a mobile elevator, and the ashtray on the shelf is the switch. There is another layer on the ceiling, and it's arranged the same, so it's hard to find. Why are you still standing here? Didn't you hear? Tang Yuyin said sternly. Hurry up and move. A large group of agents rushed to the door, but Charlotte blocked their way. Wait, there's poison in the basement. You can't go in like this. You need to wear gas masks and oxygen tanks, and it's best to bring some ventilation equipment. As soon as Charlotte said this, someone went to get the relevant equipment. Tang Yuyin took Charlotte's hand. Come with me. Charlotte was slightly stunned. Where to? Tang Yuyin's eyes showed a bit of resentment. What? Are you afraid I'll eat you? Charlotte, Tang Yuyin didn't care whether Charlotte agreed or not, and took his hand to the end of the corridor. Charlotte really wanted to pull his hand out of her hand, but seeing the wet tears in the corner of her eyes, he couldn't bear to do so. This was something that couldn't be solved. If a woman loved you so deeply that she couldn't live without you, could you bear to push her away? Could you bear to hurt her again and again? Others might be able to bear to do so, but Charlotte couldn't. If there was a reason, there was only one reason. Because he was Charlotte. Chapter 10:57. The bar had already been cleared out. Both the customers and the bar staff were under control. What awaited them was a strict identity check. Those who had problems would not be able to get away. Now, Tang Yuyin and Charlotte were the only customers in the bar. Tang Yuyin pulled Charlotte's hand to a dimly lit corner. Then, she pressed Charlotte down on a sofa. Then, she sat on the sofa as well. Their butts were pressed against each other, and there was no gap between them. There was an unopened bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses on the table in front of the sofa. There was no residue of alcohol in the glasses. It seemed that no one had used it. Perhaps the customers had ordered alcohol and were taken away before they could drink it. As soon as they sat down, Tang Yuyin stared at Charlotte. Her gaze was direct and hot, as if it was going to melt Charlotte. Charlotte smiled bitterly. Yuyin, what are you doing? Tang Yuyin opened the bottle of whiskey and washed the glasses with it. Although the 2 wine glasses had not been used yet, she still disliked them and wanted to wash them with wine. She quickly washed the glasses and poured more alcohol into them. Let's have a drink. We haven't had a drink together in a long time. Charlotte felt a headache coming on. Yuyin, stop fooling around, okay? We are on a mission. How can we drink when we are on a mission? You've killed all the people. What else can my men do besides collect the corpses? Also, I am the director now. If I say we can drink, we can drink. I'm not afraid. What are you afraid of? Charlotte was speechless. She was overbearing and willful. This was a mark that was engraved in the bones of the eldest daughter of the Tang family. It was hard to get rid of it. Are you not willing to drink with me now? Tang Yuyin's voice suddenly became soft and full of sadness. Charlotte smiled bitterly. Of course we can drink. Why don't we go somewhere else and have a good drink? Easy for you to say. Tang Yuyin said, the 4 pregnant women of your family have a deep prejudice against me. I quarrel with them whenever I see them. Another day? It would be strange if they let you out another day. This made Charlotte a little embarrassed, but he had to admit that what she said made sense. The 4 pregnant women at home kept a close eye on him and wouldn't let any beautiful woman get close to him, let alone Tang Yuyin. As for drinking alone with Tang Yuyin, he didn't even need to think about it. His 4 pregnant women would never agree to it. Charlotte didn't say anything. He picked up his glass and clinked it with Tang Yuyin's. Then, he drank half of the whiskey in the glass. Tang Yuyin also finished the whiskey in her glass in one gulp. Then she leaned her head on Charlotte's shoulder. Charlotte's body suddenly stiffened. Yuyin, you only drank half a glass of whiskey. You shouldn't be drunk, right? Tang Yuyin said softly. It's good to be drunk to death. If you were drunk to death, you wouldn't be as painful as now. You know what? From the day you left with Fan Fan, I haven't been happy for a day. I spent a lot of time every day reminiscing about the time we spent together. Longbing once asked me what I wanted. At that time, I didn't take her words to heart and never thought about it. But after you left me, I thought about it every day. What do I want? Lazy, tell me, what do I want? Charlotte didn't answer her question. He picked up the bottle and poured 2 glasses of whiskey. Then, he picked up the 2 glasses and handed one of them to her hand. Don't think about this annoying question. Let's drink. Tang Yin suddenly took Xia Lei's hand, which was holding the wine glass, with the hand holding the wine glass. The 2 people's hands suddenly formed a strange posture. Charlotte looked at Tang Yin with a strange expression. His heart was very embarrassed, not for anything else, but because he and Tang Yin's current posture of holding hands was a posture of drinking cross glasses of wine. And cross glasses of wine was a kind of wine that the bride and groom would drink on their wedding night. If Tang Yin drank crossed glasses of wine with him, then who was he to her? And who was she to him? Don't you want to drink? Drink, Tang Yin urged. Charlotte said awkwardly, that our posture is wrong. How can you drink like this? Tang Yin drank the whiskey in the glass in one gulp. Then, she leaned into Charlotte's arms. She held the glass of whiskey in her hand and poured it down Charlotte's throat. Clap, clap, clap. 2 field agents of 101 innings happened to walk in from the door and saw this scene. They couldn't help but applaud. Chief Tang, great. When will we have a wedding feast? One of the field agents said with a smile. The other also said with a smile, Chief Tang, remember to invite us to a wedding feast. It was very strange. This time, Tang Yin didn't scold them. Instead, she blushed. Charlotte was embarrassed to death. Don't talk nonsense. It's not what you think. Consultant Xia, we have already drunk cross glasses of wine. Do you still want to renege on the debt? Yes, we will definitely drink your wedding feast. The 2 field agents continued to joke with Charlotte and Tang Yin. Charlotte glared at the 2 field agents. Go, go, go. Go and do your work. Don't cause trouble here. The 2 field agents smiled and left. Tang Yin had almost been engaged to Charlotte. Tang Yin loved Charlotte deeply. This was already an open secret in 101 innings. Therefore, after flattering Chief Tang, they stopped while they were ahead and went to do their work obediently. Lei, I know I have a big Missy's temper. If you don't like it, I can change. Tang Yin's voice was soft and gentle. Charlotte couldn't take it anymore. I have to go back. Next time, let's drink next time. Tang Yin's hand that was holding Charlotte's arm suddenly lost all its strength and fell silently. A layer of mist appeared in her eyes. Charlotte sighed in his heart. He steeled his heart and got up to leave. If he didn't leave, he would probably end up in bed after drinking so much wine. As they drank, his breasts might end up in her breasts. Once the breasts met, Ping and Residence would have a new female owner. He knew this trick. Tang Yin seemed to have figured out what she wanted, and she bravely made a change. But he didn't dare to take it. When he thought of the Tang family behind her, he didn't dare to do anything to her. Tang Yin watched Charlotte leave with a sad look in her eyes. Her lips moved. She wanted to call out to him, but she couldn't bring herself to ask him to stay. Charlotte walked a few steps and suddenly stopped. He turned around and said, Yu Yin, you saved Ah Bing and the others. They are safe because of you. I'll invite you to my house for a meal. I'll cook and treat you well. I'll also teach you that thing. Are you willing to come? The thing he was talking about was the list of CIA spies in Huaxia that he had used Xiaoqian to steal from the CIA headquarters. A smile finally appeared on Tang Yin's face. Of course I'm willing to come. What do you plan to cook for me? I need to prepare. Charlotte thought for a moment. Tomorrow night, then. It'll be a celebration for you. Okay, I'll be there on time. Tang Yin smiled sweetly. Xiaolei had never been difficult to deal with. What was difficult to deal with were his 4 women. In the past, the 4 women were like a fortress. It was almost impossible for her to break through. But now, the situation had changed. She saved their lives 8 times. Could they still treat her as an enemy? This might be a turning point of happiness. Charlotte walked out of the bar. The night wind brushed his cheeks, bringing him a cool feeling. The troubles in his heart seemed to be blown away by the wind. Yu Yin and I can't be husband and wife, but we can still be friends. I hope the women at home can accept her as a friend. I think they can accept it. After all, Yin saved them and almost died. Charlotte thought to himself. However, he obviously didn't know what Tang Yin was thinking or what she was planning. This seemed to be the difference between men and women. Just then, a van suddenly turned from the right side of the street. The street had been cordoned off by the agents of 101 innings and the police supporting the operation. As soon as the van appeared, the police went up to stop it for questioning. The van didn't show any signs of stopping. On the contrary, it sped up a little. All of this was actually an image captured by the corner of Charlotte's right eye. When the van appeared, it had already aroused his vigilance. He habitually wanted to use his left eye to investigate, but this time, something special happened. Before he could adjust the vision of his left eye, his right eye twitched uncontrollably. Then, the vision of his right eye spread out like a net and locked onto the van in an instant. At that moment, a large amount of information suddenly appeared in his mind. The content of the information was Bao Jun van, length 4,750 millimeters, height 1,735 millimeters, width 1,785 millimeters, wheelbase 2,750 millimeters, tire pressure 165, low, carrying a heavy load, preliminary estimate of 3 tons. Driver, 43 years old, male, Mexican, weight 180 kilograms, height 185 centimeters. Charlotte was stunned on the spot. His right eye had evolved, and it was such an incredible ability. His left eye was X-ray, microvision, and telescopic vision, while his right eye was scanning, calculating, and analyzing. This day came too late and too suddenly. He had never thought that his right eye would gain some kind of ability, but the unknown and mysterious ability had come without any warning. The police officers who blocked the road ordered the van driver to stop, and one of the police officers even prepared to pull out his gun. But even so, the van driver was indifferent. He shouted in Spanish, "Get out of the way, I don't understand you. I have to go to the hospital, my child is sick. Get out of the way, get out of the way." As he yelled, he continued to drive his van toward them. Charlotte turned around and faced the two vans. At that moment, his left eye and right eye activated at the same time. His left eye could see through, and his right eye gave him incredible data and information. Charlotte's left eye saw a lot of explosive devices in the van, as well as several boxes of steel balls and nails. His right eye easily gave a lot of data and information at the same time his left eye saw through the explosive devices. The van is 537 meters, 19 centimeters away, speed 30 kilometers per hour, will arrive in 10 seconds. There were 500 kilograms of explosive devices in the van, which were made in the U.S., with an explosion diameter of 50 meters. The killing range of the nails and steel balls was 1,000 meters, and the estimated death toll was 270 people. In the past, Charlotte could only see what was hidden in the van with his X-ray vision, but he couldn't estimate the range of the explosion and the number of casualties after the explosion. But now, with the scanning, analyzing, and calculating ability of his right eye, his ability was more comprehensive and powerful. Charlotte suddenly pulled out his gun, not willing to give the other party even a second. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.